Hello everyone and welcome to the Hunter Association, your source for all things Hunter x Hunter. My name is Cage.
And my name is Dylan.
And in this week's episode, we're going to be covering everything you need to know before the manga returns in 2 weeks. So this will be a comprehensive guide of everything in the Succession contest, not a recap, mind you. If you do want a recap though, check out our 6 other videos where we talk about everything for about 13 hours or something crazy
Something
total.
like that, yeah. We put a lot of time into recapping everything in those chapters.
So if you want a very thorough recap of the arc itself, go ahead and check those out. But this is intended... You know, I'm going to get into like what this is whenever we actually start the talking about this. But basically, at least, you're going to be following along with slides. And they're going to be on screen on the YouTube version. And if you're an audio listener... I posted them on my Twitter account, and they're also going to be on the Hunter x Hunter subreddit, probably at least. So you can follow along there if you need to, because obviously a very big visual component here.
Yeah, I do recommend checking them out if you have the ability to do so. Cage did put a lot of time and effort in these slides, and they are very appeasing to the eye, at least in my opinion. So recommend you go seek those out if you are interested in following along with that. But obviously for our audio-only listeners, we will be doing our best to kind of summarize everything on those slides to our best ability, verbally.
Yeah, that's the plan here. So after that, of course, we will be... Oh, wait, actually, you know what? Before I talk about this, I want to mention that timestamps are a lot more thorough in this episode. So if you would like to just jump ahead to the discussion or, you know, the recap, the guide, whatever you want to call this, I have timestamps for every single section of the guide, if you just want to jump to a certain faction or whatever at any point. So then, of course, after that, we will be covering our community comments. If you would like to join in on the community and have your comment read, be sure to comment on the YouTube version, either on the video or the community post, and make sure to like and subscribe to help grow our community of Hunter x Hunter fans. If you're an audio listener, for the time being, feel free to send us an email at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com. That is the only way we have for you right now, unfortunately, but maybe someday we'll get something else.
Yeah, I'll take this opportunity to throw out there again as well. If there is interest in something like a Twitter account specifically for the podcast, to take questions and comments and all that fun stuff, let us know however you can, either through the email or on the various community posts. We'd like to hear your feedback on that if that is something people want.
Absolutely, yeah. So, before we get into the main topic, we're going to talk about news. There is a little bit this week, just nothing major. We got actually some Net Impact news for once.
Finally. Not a lot, but,
No, it's nothing crazy. But Net Impact will be playable at TGS with a new build, which is exciting. It apparently has improved in overall gameplay, according to Google Translate. So I guess just polished, probably.
Yeah, that likely means balance changes, and Luiorio is no longer the best character by far.
I would hope so, yeah.
Which is a little sad in its own way. I thought that was really entertaining. But
I'm sure he'll still be good, but not as good.
Good to know that it's coming back to a Tokyo Game Show. It's so interesting though, because it's still, as far as we know, still set to release this year, and we have nothing about a release date, and it's almost October. So
yeah, that is wild to me that we still don't have a release date, and it's supposed to come out this year. But who knows? I guess we'll see whenever they're ready.
I sense a delay of some sort that they're just not announcing.
Potentially.
But we'll see, I guess.
So other than that, but yeah, that is exciting about the new build, by the way. I think that'll be cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, just normal manga progress updates. Togashi finished inking chapter 419. Awesome.
Yeah, he also cleaned his desk. It's probably
yes,
dirty
he did
already.
clean his desk this week. And that threw him off a lot, but seems to have helped with productivity.
Yeah, he got 3 pages done, I think, in the last update
yesterday.
we had.
Yeah, so on to 420 for the rest of the week, and then we'll see if he goes beyond. That will be really interesting.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, here's hoping that we see something. That'd be awesome if he starts working even past that, but, only time will tell.
That would also change a lot of plans for the podcast because I was only banking on 20 chapters, but that would be exciting to have more than 20.
Yeah, no, that'd be a good change of plans, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. All right. And with all that out of the way, I think we're ready to dive into this very comprehensive guide. All right, so this is everything you need to know about where we currently stand in the Succession Contest arc. So the intended use of this is, mostly, I did this kind of for us, but, as I went, I was like, this is going to help everybody. So I might as well make this super public. That's why I decided I'm going to probably post it on Reddit and stuff too, because I think this is very helpful, what I made here. Not trying to flex or anything, but I really do think this is going to help a lot of people, including us.
Oh, yeah, I think you put in a lot of good work into this. Again, very appeasing to the eyes, at least in my opinion. So
thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope everybody else likes it just as much as I do.
Yeah, so, intended use, kind of just an encyclopedia for whenever you're reading the new chapters, you see a character you don't remember, just open this up, take a look, and I told you what there is to know about that. It's obviously not every detail, but if it's a minor character, it pretty much is every detail, because there isn't much to say. But it's just you look at the page and you're like, oh, so that's what they were. That's what they did. And then hopefully it jogs your memory of who they are. Mm-hmm. This isn't like a recap. Again, if you want that, go check out our 6 other episodes for 13 hours. And hope you enjoy that. So we're going to start with just a general, what's going on. This is just a refresher. Again, not a recap. And then from this point on, we're going to be going faction by faction. Every character on the boat. All of them. Every named character, even unnamed characters are on here. I don't yet know how exactly we're going to talk about the unnamed characters. I guess we'll just say, look, there they are. Because I don't know. Obviously, a big visual component to this episode, by the way. So if you're an audio listener, go check out the images on Twitter or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Again, we'll do our best to kind of describe everything as verbally as we can. But with the unnamed characters especially, there's not going to be a whole lot of talking points for those, obviously. So the guide or the visual guides might help in that regard. Yeah,
for sure. And we will be taking turns reading after these first 2 slides. I'm going to take this first one of just information and then the first faction, and then from that point on, me and Dylan will swap. So, what is going on? First of all, the Dark Continent Expedition is the main thing. This is the end goal of the arc. It will obviously be a separate arc once we actually get there, because the Succession Contest is its own thing. But the Black Whale is currently heading to the Dark Continent with 200,000 passengers on board. The following pages will show you all of the important characters on the ship. So that's, the goal of what's beyond this part. The plan is to drop off most of the passengers on the new continent, which is basically a mock Dark Continent, which the V6 thinks can pass as the Dark Continent for most people. While Beyond's expedition team and the Hunter Association members will head to the real Dark Continent and begin their expedition. To do this, they will be transferred to a separate ship owned by Morel, who is, the smoke guy from Chimera Ant, if you forgot.
I would hope you remembered Morel.
I hope you remember. But in case you forgot, that's who he is. On this new ship, they will travel to the far ocean boundary, which if you're watching on YouTube, you can see on the map. That is something. We don't really know what it is exactly yet, but it's some kind of border of the Dark Continent. And from there, they will meet with the Gatekeeper, which we also don't really know much about yet. And then the Gatekeeper will apparently guide them the rest of the way, and the expedition will begin.
Yep, very simple stuff with a lot of complicated inner machinations going on.
Yes, absolutely. This is very simplified, but I think it gets the gist.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Succession Contest itself, our main plot right now. Very simply, it is a death game involving all 14 legitimate princes of the Kakin Empire. We will get into illegitimates later on. Obviously, the goal is to decide the next king of Kakin. Princes are forbidden from escaping the contest, and the punishment for doing so is death. And we have seen this happen once. If a guard is caught killing a prince, they and their entire family will be executed. So, gotta be stealthy about it. Mm-hmm. Additionally, every prince has a guard team and a Nen Beast as defense. And what are Nen Beasts? Well, you probably know already, but these are specific types of Nen Beasts. Summoned through the Seed Urn Ceremony, which is a part of a Kakin royal family tradition. To prove one's inheritance to the urn, the host focuses their desire for the crown and offers a drop of their blood to the urn. This gives them an egg that will eventually birth a guardian spirit beast. These are parasitic nen beasts that feed off of the aura of the host and take shape based on their personality. They act on their own and cannot be controlled or seen by the host. The guardian spirit beasts follow two main rules. 1, they do not kill one another. And 2, they do not directly attack a person possessed by a guardian spirit beast. So no other princes can be attacked by them either.
Yep.
And that's pretty much all you need to know, at least I think, about just the general premise of what is happening.
Yep, very
and now
simplified.
We'll get into finer details. Yeah,
very simplified overview of just the arc in general, like the premise of it.
Yeah. All right. So, our first faction here is going to be Beyond's expedition team. These guys are, in fact, on the boat, but we haven't seen them. But they are there, because they're heading to the Dark Continent. Currently, they have no involvement in the succession contest, and obviously they are just the team. They are a group of mercenaries and temp hunters who plan on exploring the Dark Continent. They kind of initiated this whole thing.
It's very funny. They have initiated this whole thing, but we haven't really seen them at all, really, throughout this entire arc. So
right.
they're kind of
this arc isn't about them. I mean, I expect them to really take the forefront once we actually reach the Dark Continent, but who knows if we ever even will, to be honest. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Agreed.
So, Beyond Netero, our first dude here, he is the leader of the expedition team. He's been to the Dark Continent before, and he's currently being held in captivity by the Zodiacs intentionally. This is part of a larger negotiation, kind of convoluted thing that happened before the boat took off. But he does have somebody on the inside who we will talk about later. Well, he actually has several people that want to break him out, but that wouldn't happen until I think they reach the Dark Continent. Am I right? I think they don't want to break him out till then. Or maybe the New Continent, but I think the Dark Continent is when they want to break him out.
That sounds right, yeah. I'd have to, reread those chapters, I think, again, to fully refresh myself on the details of that. But I think that's the general gist.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff that we're talking about with this team is you can kind of keep it in the back of your mind because, again, it's not going to be relevant until the Dark Continent stuff happens, and that's who knows how long away, if it ever happens.
At the very least, until they reach the mock Dark Continent, the fake one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, he's obviously Netero's son, if you didn't know that. But again, if you're watching this video and you've read the manga, I'm sure you remember that fact. That's why I didn't bother writing it down there. Jing Freaks is the second in command now. Formerly, it was Pariston. He just left the Zodiacs and was replaced by Leorio. He's trying to keep an eye on Pariston, primarily. He has a connection to Doan Freaks, who he still believes could be alive in the Dark Continent. This is one of his theories. He's not exactly sure, but he did throw it out there as a possibility.
We also don't know if, assuming Doan Freaks is related to Jing, how he's related.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. We don't know if it's like his grandpa, his father, great-grandpa. Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know. We just know the name. That's it.
Yeah. Actually, maybe it's even like a brother or something. We actually really have no idea.
We don't know, yeah.
He can copy any punching nen ability. So he claims that this isn't his nen ability. This is just kind of something he can do.
Pretty insane innate ability.
Yeah. So we've seen this demonstrated by him copying Leorio's ability, which he got hit by. Oh, yeah, it's also, he has to get hit by it to be able to copy it. That's his whole thing. So that's why he let himself get hit by Leorio back at the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Pariston Hill is the former second in command of the expedition team. He just left the Zodiacs and was replaced by Karapika, and he has a army of chimera ants lying in wait.
That's a wild card.
Indeed. This is all stuff that I'm sure will be relevant much later on.
Mm-hmm.
We also have Muhair, who is a mercenary leader. He was the one that tried to get a team to pass the hunter exams, but Karapika failed them all, so he was kind of a failure.
Yeah.
But, then there's Gollum, whatever. He's a member of the Stonewall Mercenaries, a legendary group of mercs that is composed of 11 members. His nen ability allows him to conjure powerful firearms for his allies. So this is actually something I got wrong back when we did the recap, because I thought that we saw two members try to attack Jing and Pariston at one point, and they both summoned guns, and I was like, oh, they have the same Nen ability? That's kind of lame. No. This is Golem's Nen ability, and he can give all of his allies these firearms. Most of the Stonewall Mercs we haven't... we have seen most of them, but none of them are named, and two of them we have not seen.
This will be a reoccurring theme.
Yes. But we're not going to see those dudes until the Dark Continent anyways, so I expect them to be named then.
Yeah, just know that they exist, and there are two that are unseen, apparently.
Yes, for now. Then we have just some, other random members of the team, which aren't too significant at the moment. We have Curly, an unnamed guy who I'm pretty sure is a chef, I think he said. Masher, Peko Taro, some unnamed lady. This guy, he took Jing's money and paid off the debt for the hospital that his sister was staying at. He's super loyal to Jing now because of that. And he's not named, which is crazy because I have the most to say about him about all of these guys, and he just isn't named.
Oh, Tagashi, the man you are.
Then we have Usamen, who was the one that tried to start shit with Jing, but he got his face caved in, but not actually. It was like a premonition or something. And then we have Marion, who Jing just kind of offhandedly commented that he believes that she is the strongest in the team. Interesting.
Interesting observation for someone that hasn't done anything.
Yeah. All right, and I think that's about all we got to say about Beyond's team, because, again, they have zero plot relevance whatsoever right now, so there really isn't much additional stuff I can say about them. But one day, we'll probably be talking about them a lot. So, Dylan, what do we got next?
All right, we have the Zodiacs now. This is the High Council of the Hunter Association, composed of 12 top hunters, and they have very minimal involvement in the succession contest. Their true mission really lies in the Dark Continent, similar to Beyond's expedition team. And even so you'll notice as we go through this, some of these characters will probably be very relevant, like when we get to the Dark Continent, or even kind of involved right now, through the succession contest. Others, not so much. And I'll touch on that as we go through them all. And again, there are 12 Zodiacs. Starting from the top, we have Cheadle Yorkshire, who is the chairman of the Zodiacs. Obviously got elected as chairman in the chairman election arc after Netero passed. And, obviously that mantle was up for grabs. Cheadle got elected. She is the dog Zodiac and is a part of the medical team currently. And we haven't really seen her say anything outside of, being on the medical team. So she's just kind of there at the moment.
She's just working with Leorio.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much with her.
Yeah, and we'll get to Leorio soon as well. But next up we have Mizystome, Nana. I think that's how you say it. Cage can correct me as I go. I'm horrible with names.
Also, mostly commonly referred to as Mizai by his peers.
Yeah. So I'll just refer to as Mizai for now. He is the Ox Zodiac and is a part of the intelligence team right now. And we do know he has a Nen ability which is called Cross Game, which essentially creates a courtroom of some sorts. It can be used to restrain people with the use of cards. He has 3 different types of cards, I believe. Mm-hmm. At least one of them being able to pretty much restrict the movement entirely of somebody.
Yes.
I forget the other 2, admittedly, but
I don't think we've seen them. If we did, I forgot to write them down.
Okay.
This was the first slide I made, guys, by the way, so it might have a lot less details than normal. I might be able to... I probably should have fixed that, but that's okay.
Either way, it's not extremely important with what's happening.
No, it's not, yeah.
He is currently dealing with crime sprees on the lower tiers, as we've seen in the last few chapters. He was kind of investigating, stuff that was happening in the lower tiers with the mafia and whatnot. And he knows that the troupe is aboard, but he's unsure if he should tell Kurapika for very obvious reasons.
Yes, he's kind of grappling with this decision here of, do I tell Kurapika, do I not?
Yep, he is a close friend of Kurapika at this point in time now. So, who I don't know if anybody would want to be that guy who brings that up to him.
Yeah.
Onto a significantly less significant character is Batobai Gigante. I don't know, something like that.
Gigante, maybe.
Gigante.
I don't know, one of the two.
Botabai. He is the Dragon Zodiac and is a part of the defense team right now, currently working with the Kakin Royal Army. We don't know really a whole lot else of what he's doing aside from that, unfortunately. So, not a lot to say there. Now we have Leorio. He is now the Boar Zodiac. Obviously took over Jing's former role within the Zodiacs. And he is a part of the medical team as well, along with Cheadle. And we do know his Nen ability as well, of course. An unnamed punching ability that allows him to send his fist through a portal of sorts and hit targets from afar. Obviously, we saw that in action when, in the chairman election arc, when he famously punched Jing on the podium stand. So
indeed, glorious punch.
Very glorious. And he is currently busy being a doctor, as his dream is, with the medical team due to a shortage of doctors on the Black Whale. So him and Cheadle are just they are stuck in that medical room currently. Because as we know, if you've read the manga, of course, from pretty much day one, there's been so many people going to the medical room. They will be busy with that.
Yeah, they got their hands full.
Yeah, busy for the foreseeable future, for sure. Next up, we got Kanzai. He is the Tiger Zodiac, also part of the defense team along with Botabai. And right now, he is currently watching over Beyond Cell, where he's being, imprisoned right now for the duration of the voyage.
Yes.
Next, we got Sacho Kobayakawa. He is the Horse Zodiac, also a part of the defense team, and he is also watching over Beyond Cell. And as Cage noted here, he is really, really ugly.
He's very ugly. I could not leave it unaddressed, guys. Man, that poor soul.
Literally has the face of a horse. That's a curse.
Yeah.
Next, we got Sayu. He is the final one here that is also watching over Beyond Cell. He is the Monkey Zodiac. And as we know from the small little arc that happened before we set sail on the Black Whale, he is the traitor among the Zodiacs that is aligned with Beyond, but he has no idea that he's found out, presumably.
No. This is poor wording. Beyond has no idea that he is his ally.
Okay. My bad. Yeah.
He also doesn't know that he's been found out. That's also a good point to bring up. But yeah, I meant to say there that Beyond does not realize that he's allied with him.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Good clarification there. Either way, he is a traitor. He is not really aligned with the rest of the Zodiacs. And we do know his Nen ability as well, which is 3 monkeys. If their attacks connect, the opponent is deprived of sight, hearing, and speech, respectively. So, pretty devastating sounding Nen ability, honestly. But we haven't seen it in action.
We've only seen it explained. We haven't seen it in action. So, sounds cool though.
Yeah. No, we have yet to see if that'll actually come to fruition in some sorts. But yep, he is a traitor. Just keep that in mind for Sayu.
Yep.
And then we have a bunch of Zodiacs that are really not doing a whole lot right now. So we got Ginta, the Sheep Zodiac, and is a part of the biology team. And I believe that is the team that'll be essentially researching all the biological creatures on the Dark Continent whenever they get there.
Yeah. All of these teams, by the way, are for whenever they actually get to the Dark Continent, if that wasn't clear.
Correct. It just so happens that some of these teams will have uses on the voyage itself, such as the medical team.
Yeah, the medical team primarily, definitely. Biology team, I don't know what they can do. They're just kind of finding work where they can get it.
Yeah. And Ginta was last seen with Mizai and Botabai, keeping an eye on Illumi and Kaluto. So,
So apparently he's working with the Royal Army, I guess.
Yes. Interesting to keep in mind, though, that like a good amount of these Zodiacs are keeping their eye on the troop specifically. So, next we got a Pion. Rabbit Zodiac, and is a part of the intelligence team. That's as much as I could say for her.
That's all we got.
Then we got Gel, however you say it. Gel. Snake Zodiac is a part of the medical team with Cheadle and Leorio. That's about all we know.
We haven't even seen her in like the doctor's quarters, so we don't know if she's doing that or not.
Right.
At least as far as I know.
She's there though. She exists. Then we have Cluck, the Chicken Zodiac, and is part of the biology team. That's all I have to say.
Yep.
And then next we got Karapika finally, which I'm not gonna go really in depth here. He's going to have a whole other section later on, as I'm sure you guys could have guessed. But just as a quick overview, he is the Rat Zodiac, taking over Periston's role, essentially. He's a part of the intelligence team, and he is currently a bodyguard for the 14th Prince Woble. Very important character as well, obviously. And again, we'll talk about him more in Woble's section specifically, kind of more relevant to talk about Kurapika there, considering his current role. But yeah, he's with the Zodiacs, but his primary goal right now is to guard the 14th Prince.
Indeed. All right, I get a fun one here. The Phantom Troupe.
Oh boy.
They are an infamous band of thieves, also called the Spider. They are primarily on board the Black Whale to kill Hisoka, who killed 2 of their members before departure, which were Shalnark and Kortopi. They also have a sub-goal of stealing from the Kakin royal family. No direct involvement with the succession contest yet. However, Team B, which I'll talk about soon, is heavily involved with the Mafia conflict at the moment, which is somewhat related to the succession contest.
They got various future routes into getting involved in that contest.
Yes. So, starting off, Crollo, Lucifer, obviously the most fleshed out character on this whole page, maybe even this whole presentation. He is the head of the Spider, very determined to be the one to take Hisoka's head. He is very depressed right now. It's an emotional state we've not seen him in before, really. Well, I guess when Uvo died.
Yeah,
but this is kind of another level. He's down in the dumps and very angry and wants to kill Hisoka badly. He obviously has the Nen ability called Skill Hunter, which allows him to copy other abilities and store them in his book. He can also now use a bookmark to use the book while closed or to use 2 abilities at once.
Very broken Nen ability, as we've already seen.
Yes. And this is all, by the way, these 3 here at the top. This is Team A, which I'm calling. This isn't like an official name. It's just we have groupings currently. They've split apart and are looking for Hisoka in their own ways. So this is the 3 of them up here. Shizuku Murasaki is grouped up with Crollo because she knows that she can't take Hisoka on in a one-on-one.
Smart.
Yep. Her Nen ability is Blinky. She can conjure a vacuum cleaner Nen beast that can inhale an infinite number of non-living objects, but not anything that she considers living or that is made with Nen. Now we have Bonelanov Ndongo, a freak. He's an interesting guy. He is grouped up with Crollo because he couldn't come up with a good plan by himself. Very simply.
Yeah.
His Nen ability is called Battle Cantable. He plays music using the holes in his body, creating various effects. We have seen 2 used so far. Prologue allows him to conjure warrior attire as well as a spear. Jupiter allows him to conjure a giant sphere with the appearance of the planet Jupiter around himself to crush his enemies.
It sounds pretty broken, honestly, upon being refreshed on that.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Both him and I'll talk about Phaeton in a second. They both have abilities that are like, I don't use this on a boat, man. This is not going to work out.
It's really creative, though, all things considered.
Yeah. So that's our Team A. We have not seen much of them at all. So
we know that Crollo has some kind of plan in mind with us. Like, they want them to investigate something, I think, Shizuku and Bonolanov, but
yeah.
We don't really know.
All
much.
vague. We do not know what they're doing yet. Hopefully, we will touch on them soon, though. Really hoping. Team B, who we've seen a lot of. Fink's Mag Cub, first of all, is currently caught up in a side quest with both the Jiyu and Cha-R families in order to crush the Heil-Ly. So all 3 of them are in this. I wrote that same note for all 3 of them, so I'll skip it henceforth. But just know that all 3 of these next people are involved in that whole plot line. His Nen ability is called Ripper Cyclotron. When Finks winds his arm in a clockwise direction, his aura increases in his fist with every rotation.
This is a very brutal one. It's very simple, too, though. We've seen him crack necks very easily with this ability.
Yeah, big punch, basically, is what this ability is. Nobunaga Hazama, currently caught up. Oh, yeah, I just said I will not read that, so I will not read that. But he's doing that same thing with Phaeton and Finks. He's kind of formed a somewhat of a friendship with Henry, the underboss of the GU family. They're kind of bros right now. They both have a mutual respect for one another, I would say, is the best way to phrase that. And unfortunately, we don't really know much about his Nen. We know he has good N, but that's kind of it. He has a sword.
He's very skilled with the sword.
Yes. But we do not know like his Nen ability yet, or if he even has one, but I have to imagine he does. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Then we have Phaeton Porter. He has the Nen ability Pain Packer. After taking damage and becoming enraged, Phaeton conjures a suit of armor that protects him from the effects of the ensuing technique. His aura output also receives a boost. With this, he can use an attack called Rising Sun, which transmutes his aura into scorching heat. Its power depending on the pain and injuries inflicted on him. And we have seen this get basically as big as the sun. So it's crazy. This is a wild ability.
Don't use it on the boat, man. Don't do it.
Do not use it on the boat. Then we have Team C here, who are Zoldycks. Obviously, Heil-Ly is new to the team. Heil-Ly Zoldyck. He was hired by Hisoka to kill Hisoka, interestingly enough.
It's a very Hisoka-like thing to do, honestly.
Yep. We just saw them not too long. Actually, that kind of was a long time ago now, but they were both of these two were on the deck of Tier 3, I think. And
yes.
They were caught by Ginta and Botabai. And his Nen ability, I don't know if it is actually his Nen ability or not, but he uses pins to like control people.
We've also seen him
just use them for offense.
Yeah, we've also seen him use it to disguise himself as well. So
yes, yeah, like facial reconstruction. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. But yeah, we don't because he did that like in the hunter exams. We really don't know like what this is. Like I assume it uses Nen, but I don't know. We haven't seen him in action much.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Then we have Kaluto Zoldyck. She's with Heil-Ly, and her Nen stuff is by attacking a piece of confetti to a person's body and creating a paper doll of that person. Kaluto is able to hear anything being said within the vicinity of that person.
Very utility-focused ability.
Yep. They have not done much. They are with those people, Botabai and Ginta, and that's about all we know. They wanted to take them into custody. Or actually, no, they wanted to escort them to a higher tier because they both have VVIP passes. So they should be on like tier 1, I think, or tier 2.
Something like that, yeah.
But they're not. So they were really confused about that.
They're kind of the wild cards of the Phantom Troupe right now, just in general.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially because we don't really know their intentions, especially Heil-Ly.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have the two loners here. Franklin Bordeaux. He's kind of doing his own thing, and he says he is waiting for Hisoka to come to him. Interesting.
Confident guy.
So his Nen ability is double machine gun, very simply. He opens his fingertips and expels aura from them in the form of bullets. Pretty simple.
Simple but effective.
Yep. And then we have Machi Komachin? I don't know, something like that.
Something like that.
She is pissed, guys. Like, wow.
Arguably as pissed as Crollo.
Yes, we have never seen her this way before. She is a totally different person right now. We haven't seen much of her, but wow, she is angry. She's kind of in a competition with Crollo to see who kills him first. Those two are not exactly friendly with each other right now. They're really just kind of in their own headspaces with just like rage. They just want to kill Hisoka. They care about very little else.
Yeah.
She can create threads of Nen that she can use to stitch wounds, or she can use them offensively for either controlling an enemy like a puppet or just cutting people with them, because I guess they're pretty sharp.
Yeah, as you would expect.
And that's all we got with the Phantom Troupe. They are split apart in various ways. We will actually talk about Team B a little more in a different section later, but that is all the info we got on them. I'm hoping to see them more soon.
Indeed. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Now tell us about their target, Dylan.
Yeah, we, still tangentially related to the troop, we have Hisoka. Not really a faction, more so this is just one very dangerous guy on the boat. But obviously it's kind of a huge wild card just on the ship as a whole. We don't really know what he's going to do or what he's intending, really, even. We just know
No.
that he is on the same boat as the Phantom Troupe, which can only spell disaster.
Yes.
He was just given a VVIP pass to Tier 1 by Henry from the Jiu family, I believe.
Yep.
We'll go more into him later in a different section. But yeah, he was given a VVIP pass to Tier 1. Just to remember that, because that could prove very important. As you might be aware, Tier 1 is where the succession contest is kind of being taking place right now. So
Yes. Very interesting development there. We talked a lot about that in our episode about that.
Yep. He lost the fight to Crollo before the ship departed and was to kill all the spiders, if you recall. He killed two of the Phantom Troupe members.
Yep.
He was killed by Crollo, and like he actually did die, as far as we're aware. But he used the form of post-mortem Nen to revive himself with his Nen ability, Bungee Gum. Of course, has the properties of both rubber and gum. Can also use texture surprise with it to create artificial flesh and heal wounds, which is exactly what he did as soon as he revived himself. He has kind of prosthetic rubber arms and legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
presumably on Tier 1 now. Same tier as Kurapika. Keep that in mind. As potential, meetups to happen.
Indeed.
We don't really know what he's up to or what his intentions are, like I said. So, kind of keep him in the back of your mind at all times as we approach these upcoming chapters.
He's got a new haircut.
He does. He looks pretty spiffied up, I'd say.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, truly a wild card in every sense of the word. Man, I can't even imagine what he's going to do.
Me neither, man. But, speaking of Tier 1 and the succession contest,
Yes.
it's time to go over the Kakin royal family, I believe.
Oh, yeah. So the Kakin royal family, this is not a faction per se, but because none of them are working together. Some of them have alliances with each other in weird ways, but basically I didn't know where else to put the queens exactly, so here they are, as well as the king, King Nasubi Huigyo-ro. He is the current king of the Kakin Empire. He's working with Beyond with the goal of becoming a historical hero. He basically wants to go down in history as like, oh yeah, this awesome guy who made the Dark Continent expedition possible and start a new life for humans. He just wants to be a legend in history. And he started the succession contest on the way there to find his successor. I guess it's just kind of for his convenience. He was like, yeah, we're going to be on this boat for a while. I might as well just figure out who the successor is going to be.
Yeah, why not? There could be some kind of hidden motivation. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know a lot about Nasubi yet, but he's interesting.
He is definitely a major player, nonetheless.
Because he was once a succession contest participant, he also does have a guardian spirit beast, although we have no information on it, and it is absolutely horrific. So
yeah,
there you go. He also has a butler that's kind of always with him named Nugui. Nothing to say about him whatsoever, but he's there. So the queens, we have Unma. I'm not going to say Huigyo-ro every time because they all have the same last name, but we have Unma. She's the first queen, mother of Benjamin and Tserriednich, and she has 9 true guards. True guards are basically spies, essentially. They have these at their disposal. The lower ranking queen you are, the less you have, and you can just kind of send them to other factions. We've seen several of them. Not all of them are accounted for by any stretch of the imagination, but we have seen some of them, and I always, whenever we see them later, I will note who they belong to.
Yeah, just as a general rule of thumb, just the higher ranking the queen, the more spies they have. That's really all you need to know.
Yep. Dwazel is the second queen. She is the mother of Camilla, Tubeppa, Luzurus, and Halkenburg. She has 8 true guards, and she has arranged for her true guards to cooperate with Unma's. So this is kind of a little collab we got going on here. For some reason, it is interesting that those two have an alliance, but the goings-on of the queens are kind of in the background mostly. We just hear about them every once in a while. It's not at the forefront.
It's really interesting on that specifically as well, because the first queen and second queen are kind of collaborating, while the first and second princes are kind of at war with one another.
Yeah. Wait, you know what?
It's just kind of something that,
that's
crossed my
interesting.
mind. We can go into the princes in, the later sections, obviously, but,
Yeah,
little fun tidbit there.
It is interesting, yeah. Camilla wants her to help her kill Halkenburg because she feels that Dwazil can get to her the easiest, and she just kind of wants her to assassinate him. That probably isn't going to happen because Dwazil did not really seem into that idea.
No.
She's also kind of scared of Camilla, seemingly. Like, Camilla tries to boss her around, and, Camilla's locked up right now, so she can't really do that anymore. We'll get to that later.
To be fair, I'd be scared of Camilla, too.
Yes, she is crazy. Dwazil is really against the idea of the succession contest altogether. She really doesn't want this to be a thing, which is probably why she's collaborating with Unma. She's just trying to get something going on to have a peaceful resolution.
Yeah.
Then we have Tang Zhao-Li, who is the third queen and the mother of Zhang-Lei, obviously. She has 7 true guards. We have really not seen her do anything. Then we have Katrono, fourth queen, mother of Tyson. She has 6 true guards. Again, not much to say. Then we have Swinko, who is the 5th queen and the mother of Saleh. Rest in peace, brother.
Yeah.
She has 4 true guards, and she is mostly known for scolding Saleh for being too carefree.
How could you speak that way to the true king?
That's right, man. He was done dirty. It's all her fault, honestly.
Yeah, she could have prevented this.
She could have. Then we have Seiko, who is the 6th queen, mother of Kacho and Fugetsu, has 3 true guards, and she sucks. I hate her. She really didn't seem bothered by Kacho's death, and she's really just like, all right, one's dead, let's move on to the other. Let's get Fugetsu up there. I hate her. She's annoying.
Not a good queen. No.
Terrible mother.
Yeah.
More so. Then we have Savanti, who's the 7th queen, mother of Momoze and Marayam. Also not the greatest mother in the world, as I'll explain in a second. She has 1 true guard, and she made the dumbest play I've ever seen in my life. She gave pretty much all of Momoze's guard team to Marayam. She is really largely to blame for Momoze's death. There's no excuse for why she did that. It's so stupid.
Yeah, not the greatest play in hindsight. I don't know what she was thinking.
Momoze was literally being guarded by people that wanted to kill her. Like, it was all spies. It's ridiculous. What a stupid play.
Yeah, she didn't deserve that.
No. And yeah, Savanti kind of had that similar mindset as Seiko. Just like, oh, one's dead. All right, Marayam, you're up. Let's do it. Oito now is the 8th queen. She has no true guards because she's the lowest. And she's very much the most plot important character on this whole page, and we will talk about her much more on Woble's page.
Mm-hmm. By far the most important of the queens,
Yes.
Ironically, given her status.
And so now on the same topic of the Kakin royalty, let's talk about their army, Dylan.
Yep, so next up we have the Kakin Royal Army, which is a limited number of Kakin Royal Army soldiers, primarily made up of Tserriednich's childhood friends. And obviously we'll get into Tserriednich much more in detail later. But a lot of these are kind of tangentially at least related to Tserriednich. A lot of them from his childhood even, it seems like. Mm-hmm. So starting off with the royal family, though, we'll go over Gipper, which is kind of the corporal officer of this team, I guess, of the royal army. Has a leadership position, essentially. He's very protective of Tserriednich. Obviously has some kind of close tie to him, right? Or at the very least, is just very loyal. I guess we don't really know for certain, but he has a very short temper, as we've seen in the couple chapters that he's been in. It can quickly point out others' shortcomings, and he is also willing to ask questions and recognize the intelligence of those subordinate to him. So, he'll respect you if you respect him, essentially. And he is trying to take down the Heil-Ly family as of, what's going on with them right now. That is his goal. And then we have 3 other members, which are kind of like under his command almost, it seems like, or at least working with Gipper. And these are all, again, very close to Tserriednich, childhood friends. We have Borkson first, private first class and a provisional hunter. Very observant and has met with Theta and Salkov and inferred that Nen is comparable to a top secret weapon, which is not that far off from the truth, honestly.
Yeah.
We'll go over Theta and Salkov in Tserriednich's section as well. She knows a lot of what's going on essentially with the succession contest, and could prove to be a very relevant character for this group specifically as this goes on. Next we got Momoze, private second class, and calls Borkson Bork for short.
Implies they must have like some kind of significant friendship with each other.
Yeah, we got to keep in mind that a lot of the relationships with these characters, we're kind of going off of inference right now.
Yeah.
They've only really showed up heavily in like one chapter.
One chapter, yeah.
Yeah.
But they were in other chapters. Just we had one chapter pretty much all about them, and then they kind of dropped off the face of the earth. But that was also a really recent chapter, so I'm sure we'll see them again pretty soon.
Yeah. And Momoze really respects Borkson's judgment. Looks up to Borkson specifically a lot. Mm-hmm. It's very obvious. And then finally, as part of Tserriednich's group, we have Otosin, I think.
Otokin? Otosin, I don't know, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Private third class, calls Tserriednich Seri. So, he was very close to Tserriednich, it seems like, at some point in their childhood. Gipper does not like him calling this at all. He thinks it's very disrespectful. He's pretty much the comedic relief of the group, always cracking jokes, essentially, and not really taking anything seriously.
Yeah, being very casual about things.
Yeah.
Just blunt.
And according to Momoze, he is the only person who can talk back to the prince without getting shot. So, this seemingly is probably one of Tserriednich's closest friends at some point, which could prove to be relevant at some point, if these groups ever meet up. And then we have like 3 unnamed friends of Tserriednich, we think.
I'm pretty sure they're friends of his. Not entirely sure, but they were in that group and they spoke with them. It's just I'm not entirely sure if they were friends or just members of the army.
In any case, they're unnamed as of right now. And again, don't really know a whole lot, but we can infer that this group will be important at some point relating to Tserriednich specifically. So it's pretty important to kind of put these characters together in this section. And then we also have 2 other people of the Kakin Royal Army that are named, and we can go over. Do note that these are not part of Tserriednich's group specifically, though. They're not really affiliated with these
just
people.
Soldiers.
Yep, just soldiers. We got Maizan first. Willing to share information with the Mafia if the money is good enough. And as we have seen in a couple of the chapters, he sold info to both Wang and Henry, which are both obviously involved with the the mafias and the lower tier businesses going on right now with the the gang wars. So
yeah, they're both the underbosses of their respective mafia families.
Yep. So he sold information. That's pretty much all you need to know right now. And then we got Bizuri. He's the one who found Illumi and Kaluto on the deck, and he is currently with Botabai and Ginta of the Zodiacs. So he's there with them.
We'll see him again. He's not really a super important character, but he'll be around, I'm sure.
Yep. And that about does it for the Kakin Royal Army, like sub-faction. Not a whole lot, but they will prove to be relevant, I think, at some point. So good to keep in mind.
Yeah. All right. Now the Justice Bureau. And by the way, if it wasn't obvious, I'm saving all the princes for like the last thing we talk about. I'm getting all the other factions out of the way before we talk about the big boys. So the Justice Bureau, not very fleshed out at all. We have seen very little of them, but we do know Steiner. He was pretty important before the boat took off, because he was the one that proposed the idea to bring the Kakin Empire into the V5, making it the V6, which was approved. And he also pretty much, this whole thing was kind of his idea, actually. The idea to drop people off the Mach Dark Continent and the whole thing, almost. Except, it was going to happen regardless. Like, the Black Whale was going to set sail, whether he said anything or not, but he made the plans more favorable to the V6.
Yeah.
So he's a restricted travel permit agency special force task force assistant director. A very, very long title.
That's a lot of responsibilities for one title.
Yeah. He studied Journey to the New World East Edition very, very thoroughly. Wow, a lot. He did a whole presentation on it to the V5 at the time. And he will accompany the expedition team to the real Dark Continent when the time comes. Although he does not, there was a line where he kind of doesn't really see himself surviving very long there, but he does he really wants to do it It's something he feels like he needs to do. In relation, I'm going to go down from here. We have Pukert. Whenever Steiner was reintroduced, this guy was also introduced with him. He's like the same kind of thing as Steiner. He's just less significant.
It's kind of telling, given they have like the exact same hairstyle.
Yeah.
It's just like uglier face.
Big business. Yeah, both of them are, by the way, they're kind of like on loan to the Justice Bureau just because of circumstances. They're not actually like part, obviously, of the Kakin nation or empire, so they're just kind of there doing stuff while the boats go sailing. I don't know. They're just killing time. Then we have Kaiser, who has recently become relevant. He is helping Melody and Kacho's Nenbeast, not Kacho, which we'll talk about later, in their efforts to make Fugetsu king. He recently confessed his love to Melody, but Melody doesn't believe that this is actually the case, and he suspects him of either being manipulated or being a manipulator himself. And again, we'll talk more about that kind of plot line later when we talk about Melody. And then we have Cleopatra, who is the Supreme Magistrate. Nothing to say about her, I assume. I don't even think we know their gender, but yeah, that's all we got. So now take us into some much more important people, Dylan.
Yeah, so we are going into the mafia families now, I believe. So first up, we got the Cha-R family. So brief overview of the Cha-R family, a mafia family from the Kakin Empire. They have control of over all commodities on Tier 5 of the Black Whale. Tier 5 is kind of their whole turf, essentially. Yes. And so getting into it now, I believe the Cha-R family is related to, I believe this is the 7th prince, right? Is it Luzurus?
Yeah, Luzurus is the benefactor. I list all the benefactors on the prince's pages later. I guess I probably could have put it here, but oh well.
Just a tidbit, these are related to Luzurus's faction, I guess, in general.
In a way.
Tangentially related. It's just something I thought I should note. But first up, we got Brocco Lee, one of the most creative names Togashi has made so far. He is the family boss of the Cha-R family. He's the head honcho. And is also the illegitimate half-brother of King Nasubi. We don't really know a whole lot about him aside from that. He hasn't really been that active. But, he is a player, to keep in mind with the mafia storylines going on. Next, we got Tao Zhao, vice boss of the Cha-R family, and is military advisor to the private army of Prince Luzurus. Again, Prince Luzurus kind of tied to this whole family in general. Mm-hmm. So, again, not much to say. He's around, something you should keep in mind. Next, we got a pretty important character, all things considered, with what we've seen so far, is Kenny Wang. He is the underboss of the Cha-R family, and is working with the spiders to kill off the Heil-Ly family, which they're currently at war with.
Heil-Ly, by the way.
Heil-Ly. I am sorry. A podcast listener should know I am horrible with names.
Yes, that's okay.
He also has intentions of killing off the spiders after he's done with them. So he's trying to kind of use the Phantom Troupe to their advantage and then kill them off whenever they're not needed anymore.
Yeah. And
then we also have Itoku, who is a family advisor, and had a pretty long conversation with Franklin. And, that it was a pretty entertaining one. You can
it was, yeah.
We talked about it a little more in depth at one of our chapter or volume recap episodes.
It's a scene I really like because it's just kind of her trying to get info out of Franklin, but he's just not budging whatsoever. It's just funny. He doesn't care.
Yeah. Hasn't done a whole lot else aside from that, but...
No.
We got Sudonke next, who... as far as we know, could prove very relevant at some point. Family supervisor and wants to get an autograph from all of the Phantom Troupe members. You can most remember him from the glorious couple pages of explaining an entire delivery service system to the Black Whale, which, as we talked about in one of our prior episodes, could prove more relevant than we initially thought about. But
indeed,
He was just
kind of like the troop's chaperone, basically. He's always with them.
Yeah. He wants to get an autograph from everybody, though. We'll see how that works out for him. I have my doubts.
I'm rooting for him.
I'm rooting for him, but I do have my doubts.
Yeah.
And then we also have Vic, who is unfortunately dead at the moment. He was killed by Luini, which we'll go more in depth with Luini on a future slide.
Vic was a victim of circumstance. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. Rest in peace, King. And then we got a kind of a subgroup that has changed.
Yeah, this is all inferred, by the way, because this is they're in the family, obviously, but they're like, Dylan will say it, but it's interesting here. We don't really know what they are, but they seem to be their own kind of thing within the family.
Yeah, so it's funny how the most important person in this group is unnamed.
Yes.
He has a beard. Looks like he has face tattoos. Seemingly the leader of a subgroup within the family that all have rose tattoos, and is very wary of the spiders and Hisoka. And to make it easier to remember, I believe this was the guy who approached the whole Phantom Troupe while they were all sitting at the table in Tier 5.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. He has the most, probably maybe the second. Well, no, that's too far. But he has a lot of lines for somebody who's not named. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I don't know why we don't have his name yet.
Don't know either, but he's there. He exists.
Yep.
We also have Sunbin, I believe, who claims to hate bloodshed, but the leader said that was a lie. And he is most known for saying, "Hells yeah."
That's his iconic moment.
Hells yeah, man.
His breakout moment there.
And then we also have two other goons, it looks like, who are affiliated with these two, but are also unnamed. So thank you, Tagashi, for that.
Yeah, thanks.
And then we also have 5 other unnamed characters who are affiliated with the Chara family in some way, but we don't really know what their deal is.
No visible rose tattoos on those guys that I could tell, so I think they're just normal members, but any of them could have rose tattoos for all I know.
Yeah. They exist, though. If you want to see what they look like, check out the slide. And then finally, we kind of referenced this earlier in the Phantom Troupe slide. We have Team B, as we called him, from the Phantom Troupe, kind of working with the Chara family. Finks, Nobunaga, and Phaeton. They're all kind of being used by the Chara family to kill off the Heil-Ly, and obviously not actually a part of the family, but they have been working closely with them for quite some time in order to gain access to higher tiers of the ship. Because as we know, their overarching goal is to kill Hisoka, who they think is on a higher tier, and to steal the treasure of the Kakin.
And by the way, the Chara family is also helping them find Hisoka in exchange for this. They, as well as the GU family.
Yes.
Because they're also involved in this now. But yeah, they're trying to gain access. They've already ruled out tiers 5 and 4, I believe, maybe even 3.
I think 3. Exactly. I think at least, yeah, I believe it was this team specifically that have dictated that he's probably on tier 2 or up.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. But obviously Henry did find him, but they don't know that.
Yeah, and so they're also picking up any info on Hisoka they can along the way. So to the Phantom Troupe, at least to this team, the Char Heil-Ly stuff is kind of a side quest for them, but they're using it as a tool to find Hisoka a little easier. So it's all kind of intertwined. That leads us into the next mafia family, I believe, though, Cage.
Yes, so this is the GU family, obviously, another mafia family from the Kakin Empire. They have the most members and money out of all the mafia families. They get their money through human trafficking and distribution of goods on Tier 4, so very wildly different means of money earning.
Yeah, not the greatest family, all things considered.
No. So their leader, or the family boss rather, is Onyor Longbow, who looks like an onion. He is the illegitimate half-brother of King Nasubi. Not done a whole lot yet. He did recently... Zhang-Lei is their benefactor, and he did recently have a conversation with Zhang-Lei, but the conversation didn't really amount to much, if you ask me, so...
Just a similar boat as Broccoli, all things considered.
Yeah, the bosses have yet to do a whole lot. Well, except Camilla, which we'll get to. But
yeah.
So we have Henry, Biggen Dufno, a weird last name. I forgot that was even his last name. He is the underboss. He was able to find Hisoka, and in exchange for not interfering with the mafia business, he gave him a VVIP pass to Tier 1. So His goal was to find Hisoka before the troop did, so that way he could just kind of prevent them from colliding, because he really wants the troop to just stay focused on what he needs them to do before Hisoka does anything with them.
Also, because the moment those two groups come into contact, like, the whole shit might just explode.
Yeah, they worry about that conflict a lot. So he sent Hisoka to a tier that he thinks, at least, that the troop cannot possibly get to, but they're going to make it.
I think so, yeah. But that's neither here or there.
No. And he, again, as I mentioned with Nobunaga, he and Hinri and Nobunaga kind of have like a friendship going on here. Mutual respect for one another.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Connolly, who is a mafioso lieutenant. Cool.
Awesome.
Now some other people. You might remember these guys as the people that got thrown into the trash by Hisoka. First we have Lynch Fullboko. Again, was thrown in the trash by Hisoka. Her nen ability is Body and Soul. Asks the target a question and then punches them, which will cause both her and the target to hear the latter's voice, giving her an honest answer. A very cool ability, especially how it's portrayed in the manga. We haven't seen it in the anime yet, but it's cool how she punches and then like a speech bubble comes out of them. It's cool. I really like that ability.
Yeah.
Zakuro Custard. Thrown in the trash. And his nen ability is Bloody Mary. Can manipulate his own blood. However, he doesn't like to cut himself and prefers that someone else does it. Pretty cool ability, too. He can do a lot with that blood. They're also kind of like living creatures, it seems.
Yeah, something like that. It's interesting.
Yeah. I'll talk about Tassi real quick. He got killed by Bill from the Heil-Ly family. He was just kind of another victim of circumstances. He got lured into a trap of theirs, which we'll talk about on the next page, and was killed. Basically part of an EXP farming strategy. Then we have Misha Hao, which is really a very interesting character because she is dead, but still a crucial member of the family despite being dead. So her post-mortem nen ability specifically, we don't actually know her nen ability because she's dead, but her post-mortem nen is called Zombie Girl. She will appear on the corpse of anyone that a GU member killed and take over their body to make them appear alive. She then walks the body somewhere to be disposed of. So she is body disposal.
Yep, the cleanup crew.
Very interesting. Yeah. Weird ability, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's about all with the GU family. Definitely a little underexplored right now. But Hinri is definitely not underexplored. He's done a lot.
Oh, yeah. He's very important.
And obviously I didn't put them here, but, Finks, Nobunaga, and Phaeton are also pretty tied to them as well right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dylan, you get to talk about Heil-Ly.
Oh, man. For the YouTube viewers, you could probably see how bloated the slide looks right now. Not really anything we could do about that. There's a lot to talk about with this group.
Yeah, I highly recommend going to Twitter or Reddit to see this zoomed in so you can read the text better, because even on YouTube, if you blow it up on a screen, you're not going to be able to see all that small text.
Yeah, so... you're going to have to bear with me for this one. This might take a little bit, and Cage, feel free to jump in to, help me out if you deem necessary, because, oh man, there's a lot to go over. But Heil-Ly family, it's the third mafia family from the Kakin Empire, and they want to kill everyone, and everyone wants to kill them. It's kind of a
Very simply,
short synopsis of what their group is all about. They are crazy.
Yeah.
For good reason, though, all things considered, because, oh man, it's kind of a tragic past for their leader, which is Morena Prudo. Level 45, we'll get into that, don't worry.
Yep.
Just, keep the levels in mind. Is the family boss of the Heil-Ly, and is the illegitimate daughter of King Nasabi. So unlike the other two, which were like the illegitimate half-brothers, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the illegitimate daughter of the king.
Indeed.
Due to being illegitimate, she was marked at birth with 2 scars on her face to show that she is not eligible for the throne. And because of this, and just, the feeling of being discarded and whatnot, there's very beautiful panels that kind of showcase this entire tragic backstory. She views the world as trash, simply put, and wants to destroy it. And that's as much motivation as you need for a group like this, I guess, because, they are crazy, and she is crazy.
Yes.
And we also know her nen ability, which is kind of the crux of this entire group. And, if there's anything you should pay attention to, it's probably this ability, even in a vacuum, which is known as Contagion. through her saliva, and for all the members, it's essentially her just kissing them to proc this. Marina, which is known as Member Zero, for the purpose of this Nen ability, Member Zero, can infect, quote unquote, up to 22 people. Very specific number, I know, but 22 people.
Yeah.
When a member of this group kills someone, they level up, increasing their aura amount and output. So the more people you kill, the more your aura increases, the more your Nen ability essentially increases. And there's different level values you get for the type of person that you kill. So a normal person that is killed by somebody that's infected through contagion, or even Member Zero themselves, is 1 level for a normal person. If you kill a Nen user, you gain 10 levels. If you kill a whole prince, you get 50 levels.
Yes. Will we ever see that happen? I don't know. But
I feel like we will, given that this was even presented as an option.
Yeah.
But you never know.
You never know.
And there are 2 major milestones you need to keep in mind for this whole system. When you reach level 21, a Nen ability manifests. So that's a very important one. Obviously, you get a whole exclusive, Nen ability that you can do at your leisure. Very powerful. One of the many various ways we've seen throughout this whole arc where, you can kind of manifest a Nen ability from scratch. So, really important to keep in mind. Level 21. And then we also have level 100, which seems impossible, but I don't doubt that somebody will get there eventually. Level 100, you become a new Member Zero, meaning you get to infect, so many more people at your own, leisure. So.
Yep, and they could basically just double their numbers then, if that were to happen.
Exactly. So, yep. That's Marina. She's crazy. And now we get to go over all of her various subordinates, this is going to, bear with me, guys. There's a lot of people that, some are relevant, some are not right now. So.
Obviously the most fleshed out of the Mafia families. We got them all. All of them are named except one, which is crazy. But Dylan will get to that.
Yeah.
Don't know why she's not named.
That one will probably be the last one. But there is one. So starting off first, we got Billet, however you pronounce it.
Yeah, whatever.
He is currently level 21. He wanted to be an emitter, but he is a conjurer. Sad. Don't really know much.
Poor guy.
Don't really know.
Killed the guy from Char that I just talked about too. That got him to level 21. Or GU, not Char.
Yeah, from GU. You are correct. Yep, he just got to level 21. He has a Nen ability now. We know he is a conjurer. That's about all we know.
That's all we know.
We have Cashew next, level 1. Going at her own pace. She wants to savor the experience, essentially.
That's right.
Finds rushing things to be quite boring. She actually witnessed Luini, I'm pretty sure, which we'll get to soon. Get his first kill or two. Or
she collaborated with him for a couple of his kills.
Yeah, she could be a higher level at this point, given how early that was as she was shown.
Yeah, it's potential, but we haven't seen her really since.
Yep, as far as we know, she's still level 1.
Yeah. Next,
we got a Chiffon Toto, level 6, helps dispose of corpses. That's all we know. No Nen ability, obviously, due to the low level. Yeah. We got Daimon, who's level 20, almost has, he's about to get a Nen ability. If they kill one more person. Construction worker. So as you can see, there's just various different people from various different professions that are a part of the Heil-Ly.
Yeah, it's interesting.
We got probably one of my favorites out of this group, Dogman. He's a pro wrestler, I believe, is how they describe him.
Yes, he is. Oh, I forgot to write that down. Why did I do that? Whoops. Yeah, he is a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
Highest level, by the way, except Marina.
Yeah, aside from Marina, which again he's only less than 10 levels below her, so
catching up fast.
Yeah, he is level 36, so he has his own Nen ability as well. Marina told him that he has the most important role, so presumably we'll see Dogman be a very pivotal character at some point for the Heil-Ly. What will become of that remains to be seen. Next we got Gatome?
Gatome? I don't know, something like that.
Gatome, something like he looks very old. Level question mark. We don't really know. He's at least 21 though, due to the fact that he does have a Nen ability, which can create a doppelganger of himself, a copy essentially. which makes sense given that he is a con artist.
Yes.
Very fitting.
Yeah, he's like part of a 2-step plan to get them. A plan that we'll talk about later, but he like lures people into a room and then they'll get sent to the Heil-Ly hideout by a different person's net ability, which again we'll talk about later on.
Mm-hmm. We'll bring him back up again when we get to that. Mm-hmm. We have Gelato next, level 19, couple levels away from another ability, not quite there yet though. Is a pro gamer.
Let's go,
gamer. Got a pro gamer on the ship. Who knows what they'll do? Next we got Matt Vare, level 21, has their own net ability as well. What type even is he? We don't know. He is a college student. That's all we know about him. We got a Noter, however you say it.
Noter.
Level 24, so also has a net ability that we do not know about, and is a plumber. So as you can kind of see with all these Heil-Ly family members, we don't know a whole lot about the vast majority of them, aside from some have net abilities that we don't even know about. So, you know, you don't really... I wouldn't say remembering all of these different names are extremely important. Again, just kind of going over them because we can, though.
Yeah.
And,
It's all here for you if you need it.
Yeah. By far the largest group as well, so, that's notable in of itself. But next, we actually have one that, at least was important. Luini, he is dead, currently. He's dead. Level 24, and he went on quite the killing spree for himself. He was very involved in that. He was eventually killed by Nobunaga, though. He was known as the Crescent Moon Killer. Won't go into that too in depth, but essentially there was like a murder mystery of some sorts that they were trying to figure out, and he eventually showed himself, and he got chopped in half for his efforts. So,
indeed, by his own ability, mind you.
Yeah,
he died while it was active, and he was like halfway through a wall. It's like just got split in half because of it.
Yeah. So he did great there, obviously. But speaking of which, his net ability allowed him to open portals in rooms with 4 walls and a door to take him anywhere he wanted to go. The room had to be closed, and there was a bunch of other complications.
Very specific, but it doesn't matter now. He's dead.
Nope,
so whatever.
Unimportant now. Back to the more irrelevant people. We got Mont Blanc Toto, level 3. It's only killed 2 people, 3 people, something like that. I forget if they start
2.
from level 0.
You start at 1, yeah.
Okay. Helps dispose of corpses. Cleanup crew. It works with Chiffon Toto. They're siblings, it seems like. Then we got Orage, level 21. Has a net ability that we don't know anything.
Got one.
He sure has one. We don't even know what he does or like what his occupation was. Then we got Paragord. He's at least level 21, similar to Gatome or Gatome. Orage implied that he has some kind of healing ability.
I forgot the right ability, but yeah. Because he was like, I don't remember the exact line, but it was just like, I wonder how much something you'd need to heal this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something.
That's all we got.
Yeah. Then we got Padale. He is dead as well at the moment. Or I say at the moment, he's not coming back.
I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
He's gone, Dylan.
He's dead. He was level 29, was a construction worker, and was killed by Henry of the Jiu family. And his net ability was Fistful of Weapons, allowed him to transform his right hand into different tools and weapons. Not that that's going to be relevant. I'm pretty sure he's dead and not coming back. But he existed. Maybe you should keep that in mind. Who knows? Yeah. Quarrel, I believe, is this person's name. Level 22. Repairman. He is an emitter. That's all we know of his net ability. And he fought Henry briefly.
And I say fight, but he kind of just shot at him. Most of the people that I said fought him kind of just shot at him and maybe exchanged a couple blows, but yeah.
He is alive though, unlike Padale.
Yep, he lived.
Then we got Sodom, level 31. So he's a pretty high level himself.
Yeah, he is. We don't know anything about him, but yeah, he's getting up there.
Yep, but he's a back alley doctor, but also a hitman. So
interesting,
sneaky fellow.
Yeah.
Then we got a kind of a wild card player, Yokotani, level 27, and we have a pretty significant interaction with Nobunaga and Henry in one of the prior chapters. He is a lawyer and legal advisor for the Heil-Ly family, And his net ability is LSDF. I forget exactly what that stands for, but
We don't know.
Oh, we don't know. Okay.
No, that's just what it's called.
I couldn't remember if it was explained or not.
No.
Okay. So yeah, it's a defensive ability, only usable in the hideout where Morena is present. It activates when Yokotani introduces himself to unlawful intruders. The conjured guards can't harm the target, but the target's attacks also have no effect. They're effectively invincible. The more serious the crimes committed, the more elite the guards are created. So, yeah, it's purely defensive, as it says, and it's just, if it is somebody intrudes, they get them out of there.
He's basically like the bodyguard of the hideout.
Yeah. Then we got Vocante, level 26, and also a very important user in terms of their net ability, which is Door. And it's a very key part of the Heil-Ly's, workings right now. Yeah. Teleports unsuspecting victims from room 3101, where the members can easily kill them to gain levels. This is the entire base of how they basically EXP farm.
Yep.
Yeah, they have people walk through that door and they are killed pretty much immediately.
Yep.
Then we have Souffle.
This font doesn't have an accented E.
Right. Level 28, we know is a transmuter. He was a hacker. That's all we know.
Yep.
We got Terrabellum. Also, we know a decent bit about now from the Nobunaga and Henry's adventure. Yep. Level 21, so just got his net ability not that long ago. Smuggler and a hitman. And his net ability is Sweet Home. And this is a really cool one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Can displace damage from an attacking object. He takes the damage of what his right hand touches into himself and can transfer into whatever his left hand touches. So he can basically displace damage and pain.
Mm-hmm.
Or
he demonstrated on a soda can, I think, and I think his own hand, maybe. If I'm remembering right.
Because they tried to damage Yokotani, I believe, and he wasn't touching anything with his left hand, so he just took the damage himself.
Yeah.
He tanked it. Very cool.
Yeah,
I hope we see more of him. I think that could prove for a very interesting conflicts. Then we got Tevalaris, level 24, civil engineer. We know he's an enhancer, and he fought Henry briefly as well. Didn't do a whole lot. He survived though, so he exists. And then finally, by far the most important of the Heil-Ly, we have a question mark. We have an unnamed person. We don't even know their level. They're the only unnamed one.
Weird.
Yeah, I get not much to say, obviously, but it's There
they are. Just know that if you see them, hopefully the next time you do see them, they'll be named. But yeah, that's
exactly. Yeah, so that's the Heil-Ly family. Thank you for being with me through that. I know it's a lot of people. Not all of them are relevant, but I think it's just important to go over every player that could happen. Even a lot of these people that we don't know about, they could prove to be relevant in the upcoming chapters. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're definitely the most important Mafia family, I would say. Morena got a volume cover, so
that's exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Princes. Welcome to the people that just skipped ahead to hear about the princes.
We know you exist. We know you're there.
So, starting off, first Prince Benjamin, the big man himself. This is his guard team. And him, obviously. Mm-hmm. All right. Benjamin Weegyo-ro. Seems to be very hot-headed, but once calmed down is actually very smart and rational, as we've seen time and time again.
He's a strategist.
Absolutely. He's always spouting about an offensive defense. He really likes that kind of play style. Mm-hmm. He has a very unfair advantage, considering the fact that he is the deputy military advisor. He has one of his soldiers stationed in every other one of the prince's quarters as protection.
Yeah, protection.
Of course, they are actually just there for intel gathering and assassinations. So
he has a spy for every single
one.
Yeah.
So unfair. It must be so frustrating to deal with his bullshit.
I understand Camilla a little more each time I
think about it. She was just like, I gotta deal with this now. Forget this.
Yeah.
His net ability is Those Who Inherit the Stars. I love that name. Mm-hmm. When a net user who has sworn fealty to Benjamin dies, the first prince receives their Nen ability. For him to inherit the ability, the Nen user must have graduated from Kakin's Royal Military Academy and be part of Benjamin's private army. With this, he currently has access to 3 known abilities: Air Blow, Secret Window, and Cold Step, and we'll talk about those and what they do whenever we get to the people who originally owned those abilities. Mm-hmm. And his Guardian Spirit Beast, we actually have no information on yet, interestingly enough. We have information on most other ones, but not his.
It does look terrifying, though.
It does, yeah. It's a cool design. All right, so we have Balsamilko, a name I never really learned how to pronounce, so we call him Balls affectionately on the show. That's our boy Balls.
Balls.
Balls might. He is the Master Sergeant and Guard Captain. He seems to be Benjamin's anchor. He is constantly with him and always coming up with plans alongside of him. He's like his right-hand man. Mm-hmm. We see him a lot.
Very trusted by Benjamin.
Absolutely. Furikov, extremely good at analyzing. He has been shown to be able to know someone's Nen type just by looking at their Ten. Currently in Kurapika's Nen class, which, because we won't actually talk about Kurapika until literally the very end, I'll just mention Kurapika is hosting a Nen class for various reasons. We'll talk about it more later, but he's teaching a bunch of people from different factions Nen. Claims to know who the silent majority user is, but is waiting for them to reveal themselves. Also, something else we'll talk about later, but Silent Majority is an assassin that's currently lurking within the Nen class.
Yep. He's presumably the only one that knows who it is right now.
Yes. Rihan, our boy, the ultimate yapper.
If there isn't one chapter in this upcoming 20 where he does, has a yap fest, I'm gonna be a little upset.
Please, we need another Rihan yap fest. Was previously assigned to Sale, but now is assigned to Tubeppa. Being very cautious about Tubeppa's Nen Beast. Overly cautious, because that is what this guy does. Mm-hmm. He overthinks everything. His Nen ability is called Predator. Once Rihan has selected a target and activated his Nen ability, a Predator begins to grow inside his body. The more accurate his understanding of the target's ability, the better the Predator will be able to counter it. Wild ability. A lot of questions with this, I'm sure, are popping in your head right now as I just read that, but we have answers to almost none of them. It's a weird one. Yeah. We know that if he gains info from an outside source, at least, it has the potential to just completely nullify the ability, but...
Or at least weaken it, but
yeah. So yeah, that's a wild one. I expect we'll see it again. Bobby Mina or Bobby Mina. I've been saying Bobby Mina, but it actually might be Bobby Mina. I don't really know, but... I'm going to stick with Bobby Mina. I'm just going to throw it out there that it could be Bobby Mina. Assigned to Woble. Like Furikov, he is also very observant and analytical. He has deduced that Kurapika's Nen ability is linked to the chains on his fingers, and that he must have 5 different abilities. So he's very smart. He is able to figure that out pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of his primary goal right now, is he's trying to figure out Kurapika's whole deal. But he's also, he's not exactly an enemy, it seems. He could be willing to collaborate.
He's very tactical. We don't... He whatever his motivations may be, he's keeping it close to the chest. So he's a very interesting character.
He is. He's probably the most interesting one that's stationed in Woble's quarters, aside from the main people.
Yeah.
So, what order should I do this? Let's go down to the bottom left corner here. So we have Vict. He is assigned to Halkenburg, and he's likely being possessed by one of his guards. If that sounds weird to you, we'll talk about it later. His Nen ability is called Tackle Shield. No idea what it does, but we know its name.
Tackle Shield. Yep.
Can probably Muse. Yeah, you can probably figure out what that does, really. But we have Muse, dead. Rest in peace. Don't really care, but he's dead. He was assigned to Camilla, but was actually killed by her, funnily enough. That's an unusual thing to read in this document. Usually the people that are killed by other guards or something. But no, he was killed by her.
Oh, yeah. And we'll go over that shortly.
We will. His Nen ability was, and now is Benjamin's, is Secret Window. Creates birds used to spy on people. There's different types of birds. We only know about the owl so far, I believe, which is... it's basically just a security camera in the shape of an owl, if you really want to boil it down.
Yeah.
2 unnamed people here. One's assigned to Marayam and the other's assigned to Kacho. Kanji Doll is assigned to Luzurus. He has done actually a little bit, but we're going to talk about him in Luzurus' section.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Orao, who is assigned to Tyson, and none of Tyson's abilities seem to be affecting him. Again, we'll talk about him more later.
Mm-hmm. Then
there's Butch, who is assigned to a prince, but we don't know which one, actually. We haven't seen him in anybody's quarters yet. Then Kovain Toba, who is assigned to Zhang-Lei, and again, much more to say about him later. Then we have Shikaku, who died. He was assigned to Prince Halkenburg, but was possessed by one of his guards named Sumidori, and was forced to shoot himself in front of Prince Luzurus' quarters. Again, more on that later if that sounds confusing to you.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
Yeah. His then ability was called Cold Sept, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Was also the subtitle of it. And he can turn others' abilities into cards, although he did not get to use it because he was killed. Or taken over, I guess, not killed. But then
now Benjamin has it. Benjamin is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player now.
Yeah, Benjamin can play Yu-Gi-Oh! Confirmed. Then there was Vincent. He was assigned to Woble, but killed himself after being caught and threatened to be put on trial for attempted murder of Oito. He basically ate like a cyanide capsule in his tooth and died. Mm-hmm. His then ability was Air Blow. Again, now belongs to Benjamin. He didn't get to use it because Kurapika disabled his Nen. Though, I assume it's just a punch and like air comes out. It's pretty self-explanatory, I would imagine.
Yeah.
He did, whenever he was about to use it, he did have like his fist out, so you can kind of figure out a little bit about it. Mm-hmm. Yushohi is the one that killed Saleh, so this guy sucks. Hate him. Number one enemy right now.
Yeah, number one op.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that was like a two-way effort because Rihan killed his Nen Beast, and then Yushohi finished off Saleh with poison. Well, actually it was his Nen ability, not poison, but it's basically poison, you'll see. His current assignment is actually unknown. We don't know where he went after that. Nen ability is how to get away with murder, very plainly put. He starts by summoning a stinger ball to which he assigns a target. After an incubation period, the ability kills the target through unknown means. So yeah, kind of like a mosquito-looking thing, basically.
Yeah, something of that sort.
And yeah, that's Benjamin's team. Very fleshed out. Easily one of the most fleshed out because all of his dudes are doing things. That's the cool thing about Benjamin. He's being used very effectively in the story. I think it's cool to see a faction this integrated into the story.
Yeah, throughout a bunch of different other factions too, especially.
Yeah, and we're not even done talking about Benjamin's faction. Actually, all of his dudes will be talked about later too, with what their goings on within those other factions.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And speaking of, why don't you tell us about Camilla? Which actually we won't be talking about Benjamin's guard there because he died, but
yeah, no, he is dead. But Camilla's group in general is one that hasn't had a huge impact yet in the story, but presumably will, because as we'll talk about shortly with Camilla herself, oh man, does her Nen seem insane. But yep, so the second Prince Camilla, we have the guard team of second Prince Camilla. Most of her guard is composed of what we call the have-nots, and we'll be describing that shortly. But to start, we'll go over Camilla herself. She is very hot-headed almost, it seems like. Not dissimilar to Benjamin, honestly. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, kind of similar.
She made a very bold move, pretty much right off the rim.
Yeah, very early.
By trying to kill Benjamin herself, as we alluded to earlier. So, try to take matters into her own hands, and you may think that's very stupid, if you're just kind of, hearing all this without context. But, she got locked up for said attempt and is being monitored by Secret Window at all times. But, knowing her Nen ability kind of makes, why she went for that move make a little more sense, at least, because, oh man, if it paid off, it would have paid off.
Yeah.
Her Nen ability is Cat's Game. So, this is a huge instance of a post-mortem death, or post-mortem Nen, taking place. So upon Camilla's death, a cat-like Nen beast appears and crushes the killer in its paws. And if you haven't seen the panels for this, oh man, does it look brutal.
Yeah.
it then seemingly extracts the killer's life force and uses it to revive Camilla. So essentially, she gives her own life to basically insta-kill her target and then revive herself. It's pretty busted.
Yeah.
And then we also have Camilla's guardian spirit beast on top of that. So she has kind of two different
with a
beasts.
caveat, which you'll see in a second, but yeah.
Yes. She kind of has two different Nen beasts then, in a way. But so she knows Nen inherently. Then she also has the guardian spirit beast from the ceremony. We don't know a whole lot about it, but we know that it takes complete control over a target when certain conditions are met. As for what those conditions are, we have no idea, unfortunately. Hopefully we learn about it soon, though, because I am curious. Unfortunately, though, also, Camilla wants nothing to do with this thing, and is repressing it using Zetsu. So she feels essentially that she doesn't even need this guardian spirit beast. Yeah. She wants nothing to do with it.
She values her own Nen beast a lot more than that thing and just wants to use it.
Which is fair, in a way, but I don't doubt that we'll see this guardian spirit beast have some sort of role in the future.
Yeah.
Then going to her group, there's not a lot to talk about with her immediate group, so I'll just go over them.
Well, really, any of them in general. You just kind of have to say their name and who they're targeting because we don't know a lot about any of them.
Yeah. But for her immediate group, we have Umanma, Nen Exorcist, which will prove more relevant, I think, when we get to the have-nots.
This is the only Nen Exorcist we know of on the ship, but there are implied to be more, but this is the only one we've seen.
Yes. So, could be important. We'll see.
Yeah.
We also have Fukutaki, who is a major domo. I'm not... And then,
it's like a title. I honestly have no idea what it means, but they say she is the major domo. I don't know what it means, though.
Okay. Keep that in mind. And then she's also a curse expert. Again, kind of ties into the have-nots, which I'll get to soon.
Yeah.
And then we have Sarahel, who is a guard captain, and the current target is Prince Woble, the baby.
Yeah. She is also one of the have-nots, but I put her up there because she's the captain.
Aha, I see. Okay. And then we have 3 unnamed people. I don't have anything to say about them.
No.
Yeah. And finally, we have the group along with Sarahel, the have-nots. So I'm just going to briefly go over the description for the have-nots, kind of their whole premise. And then after that, I'll read off all of their names and their targets. That's pretty much about all I'll have to say about these people, though, because, again, we don't really know a whole lot else about them aside from just that they are have-nots and what the have-nots are. So to describe the have-nots, because I'm sure you're tired of me saying that now, part of an ancient banished practice of the Kakin Empire, Camilla has taken some of them from exile and enlisted them in her guard. So these are people that are just kind of unaffiliated with the empire as a whole now. Kind of got exiled. They work for Camilla now. Their ability works as follows. The user must carry an object connected to a target, such as a photograph. It could be personal items as well, just things that remind them of the target, essentially.
Yep.
Along with a dagger, and must think of the target every single day. Pretty much every breath that they take, they try and remember them and think about them. And usually it's out of hate and malice, as we've seen with some of their dialogue. On the day that they want to cast this curse, they must burn the object, drink the infusion of the ashes of the object, and then commit suicide with the dagger. The curse will then deprive their specified target of their aura, and in the most powerful cases, kill them in a few hours. And it's implied to be a very painful process as well. It will not be enjoyable for the target in the slightest.
Very painful death, apparently.
So the TLDR for all that is that these are exiled people from the Kakin Empire working for Camilla, that eventually they will commit suicide and kill the target, which are the various princes on the ship. So to briefly go over all of these people that are targeting the princes, we have Beshush, who's targeting Fugetsu, Bucket, who's targeting Zhang-Lei, Bervena, who's targeting Tyson, Kacho, targeting Halkenburg, Taller, I don't know, targeting Marayam, Lisam Seta, targeting Luzurus, Maswana, targeting Benjamin, Hignori, targeting Tserriednich, good luck with that, Nukosan, I don't know, targeting Sale, which is going to be very irrelevant at this point. R.I.P.
Yeah,
King.
It does not matter. Yep.
Kavik, who's targeting Momoze, also does not matter anymore. Jeetle, who's targeting Tubeppa. And then Mosby, whose target was Kacho, R.I.P. But we also don't really know. Like, this is kind of a special case because of Kacho, which we'll go into more in depth later. But what does cursing the Nen Beast do? We don't really know.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about. It's not something the manga brought up, but I was writing that and I was wondering what does it do?
Yeah, so
just something to keep at the back of your head.
Yeah. But that's pretty much everything related to Camilla's group. Almost assuredly, we'll learn more in the future.
Yeah. All right, so now on to third Prince Zhang-Lei. So, Zhang-Lei is the benefactor for the Jiyu family, as we previously mentioned. He has a truce with Woble's faction in exchange for information regarding Nen. And recently, the most recent play of his is he met with Melody and gave her a coin, which we'll talk about those coins in a second. He also said that he would like to hear her perform again. And you'll notice that a lot of people are interested in hearing Melody's performance again, and we'll talk more about that later. Mm-hmm. So, his Guardian Spear piece produces a coin from its mouth every day. The owner of a coin will apparently gain various abilities after fulfilling certain conditions. And that was told to us through narration. Nobody knows this yet. They're actually trying to figure out what his ability actually does. Not his ability, but his spirit piece power.
Including Zhang-Lei himself.
Yes, absolutely. The coin's value seems to increase over time. We've so far seen it turn from 1 to 10. So, his staff, we have an unnamed guy who is the guard captain. Don't know why he's unnamed. Whatever. Temptory, the first person to be given a coin by Zhang-Lei, kind of. Well, that's still actually the case. It was the first person to be given a coin, but we'll talk about who actually got the first coin in a second. Mm-hmm. And he is in Kurapika's Nen class. Then we have Sakata. In order to make up for a shortage of guards in Woble's quarters, Zhang-Lei sent Sakata there to help out, along with other people in a sec. Kurapika does not seem to trust him, and he wants to learn Nen, but is not currently part of the classes, because he got there he was there as part of the guard, so he wasn't really able to participate.
Right.
Then there's Slaka. He is a true guard for Unma, so there's finally a true guard. And Unma ordered him to go with Sakata and Hashito to Woble's quarters. So he wasn't ordered by Zhang-Lei. He probably doesn't even take orders from Zhang-Lei anyways, but Unma wanted him to go with them. And then, Hashito is the other one that was sent there to fill in for lost staff, which, again, we'll talk about the wild stuff that happened with Woble's faction early on, like literally day one. They lost all of their staff.
Yeah.
Bad. Then there's a bunch of unnamed people, whatever. And then Kovain Toba, who is the Benjamin spy, obviously not actually aligned with Zhang-Lei. And he was actually the first person to get a coin. It was not given to him, but he picked it up off the ground without Zhang-Lei knowing. He didn't even know that it could produce coins at that point because he picked it up before that. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling that Zhang-Lei will kind of figure this out at some point. He might even actually already know, to be honest, but because Zhang-Lei's pretty smart.
That's interesting to keep in mind as well, because for all we know, there could also be a condition of Zhang-Lei has to give the coin to somebody himself.
Yeah, this could really bite Kovain Toba in the ass later. And he's trying to figure out how Zhang-Lei's Nen Beast works. That's his primary goal. Mm-hmm. Interesting dynamic there. Not a whole lot about Zhang-Lei yet, but he's going to be a big player. I can just feel it. This coin thing is probably going to end up being big. Not a lot of people have them, but the fact that Melody, who is a major player right now, has one is interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. Now, Dylan, you get the most fun one, and I'm very jealous. So go ahead, take it away.
Well, feel free to chime in whenever you feel like you want to, because this is going to be an interesting one. Fourth Prince Tserriednich, at least in my opinion, probably the most interesting prince out of all 14 princes as of right now.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons, but this guy is a maniac. He is one of the most dangerous and plot relevant characters on the ship. It's only a matter of time, not only before he gets really wrapped up in the succession contest in general, but also probably with Kurapika at some point as well. That's a showdown just waiting to happen.
Yes.
And so Tserriednich, as of right now, he's learning Nen at an unbelievably fast rate. We're talking like he is like a prodigy essentially when it comes to Nen, and he never even knew anything about it until the succession contest even started. According to Karapika, he is in possession of the remaining Kurta clan eyes that he is looking for. And so this is why I say this is a showdown just waiting to happen. This is kind of Karapika's final boss of some sorts, Phantom Troupe aside, right?
Yeah.
And yeah,
worth noting though is that Karapika doesn't actually expect to fight him. He thinks he can resolve this peacefully, but no.
No. There's no way. And yeah, I think that's only going to be pushed even further by the fact that, one of his introductory panels with all the different scarlet eyes behind him, we could see what looks to be Pyro's head from Volume 0. So
yeah,
assuming that these are all on the ship somehow, if Karapika ever sees that, oh man, I think Emperor Time is going to drain the remaining life out of him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Tserriednich is a bad dude. He's a benefactor for the Heil-Ly family. He wants to meet with Melody, is kind of where we're at right now with what he's up to, what he wants to do. But obviously, in the meantime, he's been training with Nen, learning Nen, and we know he has an innate Nen ability that's not related to his guardian spirit beast, which I'll get to after this. But I want to go over the Nen ability because this is insane, and it's probably the highlight of this entire section. Yeah. So it's an unnamed ability. It doesn't have an official name yet, and we only kind of just are starting to know how it works. Like we've got the one instance essentially that was explained, where Tserriednich closes his eyes and activates Zetsu, which, if you don't remember what Zetsu is kind of you suppressing your aura. He then receives a vision, which is referred to as a precognition, of the following 10 seconds. So the following 10 seconds after he closes his eyes. The vision is instantaneous, so no time passes in the present between its beginning and its end, which are signaled by a sound and a visual pattern akin to static on a television. And this all happens instantaneously. Again, no time passes during this vision. If, after those first ephemeral 10 seconds, he does not open his eyes or rescind his Zetsu, time outside of his premonition resumes moving as normal. But he continues to see 10 seconds into the future. So as long as he keeps his eyes closed and his Zetsu rescinded, he just keeps seeing 10 seconds into the future repeatedly. And then, but the one in the premonition running, wait, hold on. I lost track of where I'm at. My bad. Yeah, he continues to see 10 seconds into the future, the time in the vision and the real world unfolding in parallel. But the one in the premonition running 10 seconds fast. In this state, Tserriednich can see and hear what passes in his vision, while at the same time perceiving what occurs outside of it and recovers his ability to move. So, to kind of simplify all of this, he can see 10 seconds into the future as long as he keeps his eyes closed and his Zetsu repressed, or his Zetsu going. And by looking at that vision, he can kind of change the actions of what he can do, like within that vision. He can change his actions accordingly and kind of, like avoid being shot or, like do a different movement, stuff like that. But the people that are involved in that vision, they'll see what the original vision told, essentially. They won't know that he changed his actions until after the fact. So, yeah. I think I simplified that as best as I could, but it's very powerful. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's really, really crazy.
There's a very detailed graph that Tagashi wrote within the chapter is introduced. If you want to take a look at the slide for our audio listeners, it's very helpful, I think.
Also worth noting is that he's kind of working on his Zetsu right now in an effort to make this more effective so that less time is passing in the real world.
I think, he stated that his goal is to have basically half-second Zetsus in terms of like activating and deactivating so that he can see 10 seconds in the future pretty much instantaneously and be able to act immediately. So presumably so he can use it in combat and, hot, tense situations, which is a scary thought.
Yes.
And yeah, finally going on to Tserriednich's guardian spirit beast. It's a very disgusting horse-like creature. It looks like it came out of a Junji Ito work. And it gives people 3 strikes as punishment for lying. And as far as we know, apparently the target will cease to exist as a human on the 3rd and final strike.
We have yet to get that far, but Theta's close.
Theta is very close, which is the first person we'll be getting into, actually. But yeah, Tserriednich, very dangerous dude. Keep him in mind literally at all times as we're going into these next 20 chapters. He can prove relevant at any point. He's that guy.
Yeah, he is.
Moving on to his team, though, we have Theta, who has been teaching Tserriednich this entire time. Granted, she's been kind of doing this as slowly as possible because she knew right off the bat this guy is going to be proved to be a very dangerous person if he learns Nen. Obviously, not really has gone according to plan because he's learned incredibly fast, even with her suppressing information on that. But yeah, as a result of her lying, through the process, she has 2 strikes currently from his guardian spirit beast, which we know because it kind of inflicts like a small wound whenever it catches you with a lie.
Yeah, that's the first. It's like a small cut for the first time, and then the second time it's like a big. What would you even call it? It's like it almost looks like a burn mark, sorta, but it's just like
like a burn blemish of some kind.
Yeah. Just her whole face is messed up right now.
Yeah, like whole half of her face.
Yeah.
Currently taking it easy because her partner Salkov even knows that. Like, yeah, if you lie again, you are dead.
Yeah.
So speaking of Salkov, going on to him next, took over teaching Tserriednich Nen from Theta because, they don't want Theta to die. I also want to point out as well, Tserriednich kind of has a weird obsession for Theta now at this point.
Yeah, now he's kind of developed that.
It's he's a weird dude.
Yes.
But yeah. Tserriednich wants to spar with Salkov at some point, as he put it. Which,
rest in peace, man.
Yeah, I don't value your chances if that happens. I think you might accidentally die.
Yeah, I definitely see that as a setup for Salkov to die. Who knows, but feels like it.
Yeah. He's being very cautious about teaching him Nen right now, too. He's kind of not really holding anything back as far as we know now, because, who wants to deal with that spirit beast? I also want to go back to Tserriednich real quick, because I forgot to cover what his another Nen beast that is connected to his 10 seconds ability. We don't know a whole lot about it, which is why I kind of just subconsciously skipped over it. But he has another Nen beast. We don't really know what it does, just that it's connected to his 10 seconds ability, most likely.
Seemingly, we don't really know. We've only seen it once, but it's freaky looking.
It's freaky looking, and it has a lot of aura, so
yeah,
keep that in mind as well. And then moving on to the lesser important people, all things considered, within his group, we have Donjin, who is currently in Kurapika's Nen classes, and Tserriednich expects him to bring back proof that he isn't being controlled by a manipulator once the classes are over. So,
he said that very ominously too, so he probably needs some really hard proof, I guess.
Yeah, he's very... You'll see that Tserriednich is very distrusting overall. He's very cautious. But yeah, so that's what Donjin's doing right now. We have Yuhan, who is dead. He was in Kurapika's Nen class. He was a huge asshole and tried to start conflict with Kurapika pretty much immediately as soon as the classes started. He had a thing against him the entire time. He did not even attempt to hide the malice. Unfortunately for him, or fortunately for the rest of us, he was killed by silent majority when he went to the bathroom. What a dumbass.
So stupid.
It's actually really comical, that death, because you find out, there is a murderer in this room right now. What is going to happen? Like who is it? Nobody knows. And then this guy decides to go to the bathroom alone, immediately
so
after.
Stupid. Yeah.
He might be one of the dumbest people working on the ship. He's dead though. Good riddance.
See ya, man.
And then we have Vantine, guard captain, and met with Melody on Tserriednich's behalf. Will likely continue negotiations at some point. As we kind of talked about earlier, Tserriednich is kind of trying to meet with Melody, presumably to try and figure out and maybe even use her Nen ability.
A lot of people are interested in that.
Yeah. And then we got a bunch of unnamed staff. I don't have much to say about them. They were just kind of shown. They spoke very briefly at certain points even, but don't know much about them. They work for Tserriednich.
They sure do.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's about it for the fourth prince.
Yep, you definitely keep him in the back of your mind. That is a major character. Actually, keep him in the front of your mind.
Actually.
All right. Fifth Prince Tubeppa or Tubeppa. I don't know. I've always said Tubeppa. I'm just going with that. A lot of her guards were revealed through a character sheet shown during an interview with Togashi in Jump Ryu Volume 21. So this gives us an interesting situation where we have almost her entire guard staff, unlike all the other princes. But we don't know anything about them. Most of them haven't even appeared in the manga. Just this character sheet with their names. Some of the names aren't visible. I'll mention them because, we'll probably see them at some point, whether or not they do anything. But they're there. I had to mention them. That's why the pictures of them look like that, because they're from just a picture that was shown on screen physically for a second. So, starting off with Tubeppa. Her primary goal is to eliminate the top 3 princes as she views them as subhuman trash. Seems to have a truce with Tserriednich, but that hasn't been mentioned since really early in the arc. Like, they met at the very first banquet before the ship took off, and they were like, yeah, we'll keep in touch. And Tserriednich was kind of like, yeah, if you survive. She is still alive, but they haven't really talked since. So, I don't know. We'll see where that goes, if anywhere. And she really wanted to recruit Kurapika, and has now, just as of the last chapter, literally the final page of the last chapter, just struck a deal with him. Details of the deal are unknown currently, but I expect we'll find that out immediately. She does not know Nen.
Yeah. She was down bad for Kurapika to work with her for a long time.
Yes. Her guardian spirit beast, Lizard Car, as I like to call it, it can synthesize various drugs and chemicals with all sorts of effects within its body. It requires a research partner for activation. Possibly due to taking after its host's nature, this guardian spirit beast was said to be extremely cautious to the point of not appearing at all in the presence of Benjamin's soldiers. So that's about all we know about that one.
Will Kurapika co-pilot the Lizard Car as a research partner? We'll see.
Who knows? Mayor is the guard captain. He is in Kurapika's Nen class and was actually the first to obtain aura. Tubeppa was impressed with the results, so then that spawned her to have. She put him in charge of picking more people to send to the class in the next round of lessons, because she was so impressed with the results. Then we have Longhee, who is also in Kurapika's Nen class, but can apparently already use Nen. And he is the one that proposed the deal with Tubeppa to Kurapika in the last chapter. Then we have Rihan. Obviously, this is with Benjamin, not Tubeppa, but he is stationed there currently. Tubeppa's Nen Beast is his current target. This is the Predator user, if you already forgot. And he overthinks everything all the time. That is what he is doing here right now, in fact. He is just overthinking the situation a lot.
It's like, really, should I really be stationed with Tubeppa? Should I be after this other prince instead? What is Predator best used for? Like, professional yapper.
Yes. We love him, though.
Yeah.
Then we have Hysen, who, just this guy that was entrusted with a USB stick full of data by Tubeppa. Don't know what it is, but yep. And then a bunch of people. So, just going to rapidly fire off these guys' names, because whatever. There's Bita, Kitamu, Momita, Ryubihi, Mizai Ruono, Konatsu, unknown names, Zomisa, Komiya, Narusu, Pitakusu, unknown, Erikusu, and Muhahahasare.
I love that name.
Long ass name.
Wahahahasare.
Mahahasare. Okay. That's Tubeppa's group. Not a lot of key players, but
Nah.
I do like Tubeppa. We'll see where this goes. I expect we might actually see a lot more of these guards soon, considering the alliance we now have with Kurapika. All right, Dylan, what's next?
All right, we have the sixth Prince Tyson now. Not a huge group, all things considered, but I think with the last round of information we have about Prince Tyson herself, could prove to be very pivotal at some point. So Tyson wrote a book simply called The Book of Tyson, and this will prove very relevant for her entire group, as you'll see soon. She sent a copy of the book to the lower princes, their mothers and her father, but she doubts any of them actually read it. Fair enough. And is making her guard team roleplay currently, and unfortunately, neither of us can really tell if this is related to her ability.
No, I don't know if it's like just some gimmick she has, or if this is a part of the ability. I don't know.
I'm assuming it might be at least tangentially related to the ability.
Probably.
Whether as a side effect or condition or something, I don't know. But in any case,
I think, maybe now that I'm thinking about it, it might just be like, because they're more susceptible to like just liking her right now, they're just going along with it.
That's what
I think that's it. Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Then we have the Tyson's Guardian Spirit Beast, which is a very interesting looking one. It's kind of just like a floating eye that kind of spews out little maggot looking things. Fairies, as they like to tell Tyson that, it's spawning.
Yeah.
But it lays smaller than beasts, which these things are called eyewogs. These eyewogs attach themselves to anyone who comes across Tyson's teachings, usually via the book, and collects aura from them and bestows happiness in return. So, give them aura, you get some happiness. The degree of happiness received depends on how thoroughly one has read the Book of Tyson. Should Tyson's teachings, one and only taboo, be broken, which we don't know about yet. We don't know what the taboo is.
No, we don't. Apparently it's personalized, though. I do want to say that.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so if that is broken, harsh punishment will be dealt out. So we would yet to be seen what that harsh punishment would be, though.
Yes.
Then we got the guard team. We got Izunavi, which you might remember was the person who taught Kurapika about Nen in the first place, way back in the day. Yes. He was actually recruited by Kurapika for this expedition, and was, or for the succession contest as like a bodyguard. Was Kurapika's Nen teacher, and kind of is just feeling out the situation right now. He hasn't really made any moves or done a whole lot. He's just kind of observing Tyson and the contest as a whole. Seems to be working closely with Giuliano, which I'll get to in a second.
Giuliano, I think.
Giuliano, and has canonically read Dragon Ball. So
good for him.
Fun fact for you: Dragon Ball does canonically exist in the Hunter x Hunter universe.
As does Death Note.
Yeah, I don't think that's touched upon within these slides.
No.
But, yeah. Next we have Giuliano. From the Hunter Association, so, related to that. And resisted Tyson's spell for a while, but it's obviously starting to take effect now. He's becoming quite enamored with Tyson at this point. Tyson threw him a birthday party, even though it wasn't his birthday. Because, as I believe Tyson put it, they weren't going to see each other in a few months anyways, so throwing it now. How nice. He has also read Dragon Ball, so we got 2 Dragon Ball readers.
Hell yeah.
Then we got various other members of Tyson's guard team, which are all role-playing right now. We have Hyuga, who's role-playing as a renowned tutor. Madwig, who's role-playing as an amnesiac hitman. Himonce, role-playing as a global A-list star. Ansel, who's role-playing as Tyson's little brother. And then an unnamed character role-playing as an alien prince. I really don't have a lot to say about it. These it could be the effects of the book, could not be. Yeah, we don't really know. So just keep that in mind at your own discretion, I guess. Yeah. And then we also have Oral, who is a Benjamin spy for Tyson. Tyson's spell is not working on him. He is not. He's not about the Tyson life, evidently. And probably didn't read the book is what we can infer from that, and may have not even gotten one. We don't really know.
Yeah, no idea. We haven't really seen him much. He's there like in background shots, but who knows what he's doing.
Yep. And then we got a bunch of different unnamed characters. Again, nothing to say as per usual for these characters, but they exist.
They do exist. All right, 7th Prince Luzurus. Great name on that man.
Oh, yeah.
He has no confidence in winning the succession contest whatsoever. He is he's a downer. He wants to distribute Basho's healthy drug all over Kakin if he were to win, although he doesn't think he will.
No.
And he's the benefactor for the Cha-R family. Hasn't really made any moves yet, and has just kind of been smoking and watching TV the whole time. That is not to say he is uninvested, per se. I just really think he has no confidence in himself whatsoever, so he's not exactly trying.
Yeah, kind of like, why bother trying so hard if I'm not going to win?
Yeah. And his Guardian Spirit Beast, we haven't actually really seen, but it was told to us what it does. It sets traps by materializing whatever the target desires as bait. When the target satiates their desire, the trap is sprung and the ability is activated. Cool. I hope we get to see that because it sounds interesting. So, of his guard, Basho, who is all the way back from the York New City arc. He is with the what's the family called? Nostrad family.
Yep.
He was recruited by Kurapika before the boat took off, and he's just kind of been chilling with Luzurus primarily. He has apparently developed a drug that makes you healthier. Cool. Trying to figure out why Shikaku shot himself in front of their quarters. That's kind of his whole thing right now. Mm-hmm. He is working with Kanji Doll from Benjamin's group to figure that out. And he participated in a rap battle at the last banquet. Good for him.
I really wish I could hear his rap skills.
Me too. Then there is Ridge, who was the his opponent in this rap battle. Again, wish I could have seen it. And Ridge is from the Hunter Association. Then there's Satobi, who's the guard captain, and he is in Kurapika's Nen class. There is Skert, who's from the Hunter Association. Not much to say about him. And then we have Rice, who is just one of the dudes. He happens to be the one who answered the door for Shikaku before he shot himself. He was not ready for that, I bet.
Yeah, no, poor guy having to experience that.
Yeah. Real quick over here on the left, there's these just a few people that aren't important at all. Just Baharte, Makni, unnamed people, Famul, Javieti, unnamed, and then there are 2 of Dwazel's True Guards stationed there, which are named Odessa and Gado, which I'll actually talk about here in a second too. So Kanji Doll is the Benjamin spy, but is actually kind of working with Basho right now, surprisingly, because he's trying to figure out why Shikaku shot himself, because, I mean, Shikaku is his ally, that is from Benjamin's faction, so... he's keeping a close eye on Gado and Odessa, because he's not really... He doesn't trust them, understandably, because they're not affiliated with Luzurus exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the kind of uneventful going-ons of Luzurus' crew. Not a whole lot to report there right now, but Basho is there, and that is a character we know, so I expect some involvement in the future. And I do like Luzurus as a character. I think he's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. I hope we learn more about him.
Me too.
All right,
Dylan. Break the news to us. What happened to Sale?
Unfortunately, dear viewers and listeners and podcast enjoyers, our king, not prince, our king Sale is dead. Rest in peace. He will not have a very important role going forward.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. He was gonna change the world, as he liked to put it at the next banquet, but he kind of just chilled in his room until he died.
He was going to change the world.
He was. I wanted to see how he would do that, man. I just... you hate to see it. He was killed by Yushoe. Obviously, Rihan kind of used the Predator ability on him as well. And, yeah. He died. His Guardian Spirit Beast got eaten, and then he died. And it looked very painful. So sad.
Yep, he basically suffocated.
Yeah,
on nothing.
Yeah, he was very loved by a lot of his followers, evidently by all the women in his bed.
And there is a reason for that, but
yep. which is from his garden spirit beast. He had admitted smoke that, when inhaled, would endear the person to Sale Sale over time. So, yeah, you could see how that kind of works then, or worked, because he is dead. We have two people that were kind of involved with him. We have Mushaho, who was the guard captain. He was in Kurapika's Nen class, but dropped out. Okay, man. And then Kurobde, who was the true guard for Queen Tong Zhao-Li. So, he was there as well. He obviously had more staff members, but since he's dead, it really just does not matter anymore. It's not really known where his staff ended up after his death either. So maybe that will prove relevant in the future, but it probably won't.
No,
does not and will not matter.
Maybe, who knows? But I'll update this slide if those guys show up again. But I don't know. I feel like that doesn't matter anymore.
The real talking point is just that Sale Sale is dead, and we should all be very sad about it.
Yeah, just rest in peace, big man.
Now on to
change the world.
Yeah, but now on to a way more in-depth Prince. You can take it over, Cage.
Okay, 9th Prince Halkenburg. He's been making big moves, guys. He has been really stepping it up. He went from wanting to drop out to having like the most resolve I've seen so far to become king.
Mm-hmm.
So, he tried to kill his father to end the succession contest. When he failed to do so, he tried to kill himself, but was stopped by his guardian spirit beast. In both cases of him trying to kill both himself and Nasubi, they were stopped by their respected spirit beasts. Because Nasubi said that basically they can't die by that way because of the succession contest rules. They're too important. King Nasubi presented the trolley problem to him, and it gave him the resolve he needed to become the king he believes the country needs. His Nen ability is an unnamed ability which allows him to harness the aura of his subordinates wearing the Guardian Spirit Beast mark and turn it into an unmatched armor to protect himself as well as into an arrow. Halkenburg's own aura is shaped into a bow. He can then fire an arrow capable of piercing any and all defenses, including Nen abilities that would ordinarily be able to stop an enemy ability, until it makes contact with the target, injecting the consequences of one of the princes, or consciousness, not consequences, of one of the prince's soldiers into their body. Basically, their souls, or whatever, like they take over that body. Mm-hmm. The soldier's body is put into a state akin to sleep until the death of the target's body. We don't actually know what happens to the original person yet. We will see, hopefully soon. Then his guardian spirit beasts imprint a mark on the back of Halkenburg and his guard's left palm, including those serving other queens. With the exception of the prince, everyone who receives the conjured mark is knocked unconscious and upon awakening will have their memories modified so they forget passing out. The mark disappears after 10 minutes if the bearer is not loyal to Halkenburg, but their memories of receiving it remain altered. The Guardian Spirit Beast also can impress its mark to cause the target to pass out without intending to grant them powers. Bearers of the crest are half awakened to Nen. They possess a greater amount of aura than normal, but are unable to see it. This was shown in Kurapika's Nen class with the 2 guards that he sent there. The more of them gather around the prince, the more their aura can grow. When everyone in the group shares the same will, the force released rises to the top tier of all Nen abilities. Shikaku dreaded that the collective power of Halkenburg and his bodyguards would suffice to wipe out Prince Benjamin's entire faction.
Pretty crazy.
Yes, this is an unbelievably powerful thing. You'll see, there's rumblings whenever this is in effect. Like, everybody on the boat that is a Nen user can feel this. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Kurapika speculated that the shared benefits mean that bearers of the crest are pulled into its limitations, which might be as severe as death if broken. That is speculation, though. Mm-hmm. And very his staff. Stuff. Oh, yeah, very, very powerful. His staff. Schedule is in Kurapika's Nen class. Yuhirai is also in Kurapika's Nen class. Nothing in particular to say about them, but they're there. Then there is Sumidori, who is the one that took over Shikaku's body through Halkenburg's Nen ability. And after shooting himself in Shikaku's body, his main body woke up, and he was asked to recite his affiliation and ID number. but we did not hear the response, unfortunately. So we actually don't really know if it was Sumidori that woke up in the body, but we can assume that it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is Vict, who is Benjamin's spy, and he is probably possessed by one of Halkenburg's guards. I wrote Halkenburg there, but...
He was the one with the tackle shield ability.
Correct. That's why I didn't put the brackets over this guy, because I expect him to actually be one of Halkenburg's people right now, but we don't know. It was just kind of inferred that that's what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a whole slew of unnamed people for this guy, all that have appeared in the manga. We just don't have names for them. One of them is probably in Vic's body, as a matter of fact. So we'll probably learn at least one more name.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Halkenburg, super, super cool character. I really enjoy this character. He's one of my personal favorite princes. I can't wait to see what kind of crazy stuff he pulls off in the future.
He's very interesting for sure, and we'll surely get something about him in these upcoming chapters.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. All right, Dylan, what is next?
We have the 10th Prince, Kacho. This is one of the princes I'm most invested in right now, I think, just due to circumstance. Mm-hmm. So she was kind of paired along with Fugetsu in a way. Those two are very connected, which we'll talk about Fugetsu later. But she's very close with Fugetsu, which is her twin sister. The two of them tried to escape the succession contest in a very powerful chapter, one of my favorites in the whole series, I'd like to say. But unfortunately, Kacho paid for it with her life. It was a very impactful death. But as we can kind of see on this slide, she's kind of still around in a way. Because Kacho's guardian spirit beast wasn't even a beast at all for, until it activated without you. Triggered by the death of one of the twins, the guardian spirit beast takes the appearance and personality of the deceased prince and stays by the other's side, protecting her until her death. The replica is visible to other people and is indistinguishable from the original. So Kacho, as we know her right now, isn't even really Kacho. It's her spirit beast, but it's Kacho in like every other way, essentially. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Except really the fact that she can like go through walls and stuff now, but
Yeah.
It's interesting. And because of this ability, also kind of now serves as a second Nen beast for Fugetsu. So this is really Fugetsu's spirit beast now, but like she's kind of like an independent entity still. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm keeping it here because she still kind of runs her own faction,
right,
despite being dead and an Nen beast. But she is feeding off of Fugetsu's Nen now.
Right. So we'll go into Kacho's guard team now because they're all kind of still it's still a thing in a way. It's kind of a new faction after the events of her death. But
yeah, we'll talk about that more too because Melody is basically Fugetsu's guard now, but not actually on paper.
Yes, which we'll go into now. Melody was recruited by Karapika for this voyage and was detained because of the escape attempt. People caught on very quickly that she was probably involved in that.
Yeah.
After her performance at the last banquet, her power is desired by many of the princes for very obvious reasons, most of them probably nefarious. Mm-hmm. And is currently working with Kaiser and Kacho's Nen Beast to make Fugetsu king. So that's kind of the goal now. Is like, okay, well, Kacho's dead, so guess we gotta try and help Fugetsu now.
Yeah.
She does not trust Kaiser and has a sub goal of figuring out who he's working for because something is up with him. That's evident. Her Nen ability is unnamed somehow. Still, that's
that is crazy.
That's unnamed.
Surprised me too.
It's used by channeling her aura into her music, I'm sure the name implies, as you listeners may remember. She's a music player. By channeling the aura into her music, she can play songs with various effects. She can alleviate the listener's fatigue and cure related illnesses, which she plays a piece titled "A Field in the Spring." Or no, she can cure the listener's fatigue and cure related illnesses. That's kind of just like various effects she can do. But when she plays a piece titled "A Field in Spring," she can placate the emotions of the listeners while causing them to hallucinate a meadow in bloom for as long as she plays. So, very powerful thing. Kind of just displaces everybody from reality. When she pours her heart into her performance, she can enchant all listeners to the point that they become completely oblivious to anything happening around them for up to 3 minutes. This ability can work on hundreds, if not thousands, of people at the same time, even if Melody's music is broadcast. Yeah. Very insane. And if you haven't seen the panel of which she's actually performing this piece, highly recommend you go to the chapter to take a look at that, because it's one of Tagashi's best, double spreads at the very least.
Yeah.
Then we have a couple other people that's been involved with Kacho. We have Kini, who is dead from the Hunter Association. He lost his wife and daughter in an accident and had been looking for a place to die ever since. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you ask. For him, the Kacho and Fugetsu escape attempt was a proper place for him to die, according to him, and he gave his life to let Kacho and Fugetsu escape. So,
unknowingly to him, it did not work out, but
no,
he died thinking it did. So,
rest in peace, King.
Yeah.
Then we got Lawbery. She was in Kurapika's Nen class and was arrested under suspicion of being connected to the silent majority user. Kind of inferring that she probably wasn't the silent majority user, though.
No, it was silent majority was stated that they just kind of let her see them.
Yes.
I forget exactly how it worked, but it was something along those lines.
In any case, she was the first person to physically see silent majority. So, how's that going for her, I guess? Hasn't really done a whole lot since. No. Yuri, who is also in Kurapika's Nen class, hasn't really done anything. Then we got a bunch of different unnamed staff. They're all unnamed, but important to note, they all hated Kacho's fucking guts. They did not like her. And this is because she was acting like a spoiled brat, essentially, the entire time.
Yes.
Which, as we know, was kind of a face that she was running, but was acting like a brat nonetheless, and people hated her for it. So,
yeah, her whole guard team, minus Melody, really, and Kini also just hated her.
But yeah, that's the 10th Prince Kacho. So yeah, keep her in mind going forward. She's kind of still around.
Yeah, she definitely is. So, in relation to 10th Prince Kacho, we have 11th Prince Fugetsu, who is her twin sister. She is obviously extremely close to her twin sister, Prince Kacho, and the fact that Kacho is dead is being hidden from her at the moment. She is currently undergoing something very strange, which we don't know a lot about yet, because this was just revealed in the newest chapter, actually, where she is being followed by some sort of evil spirits. Melody stated that this is happening due to her unstable heartbeat. She's kind of losing it right now. She is not doing well.
No.
Not herself, that's for sure. She's drastically changed.
We don't even really know why exactly. Like, you can maybe even infer that maybe she's suspecting that something happened to Kacho, but
yeah,
it's just kind of a mystery right now.
Could also be in relation to the weird things that tried to take them whenever they left.
Yeah,
tried to leave. Who knows? I don't know.
Good point.
And her guardian spirit beast is called Magical Worm. Her and Kacho's are actually the only Nen beasts that are named currently. So it's a door that can take her anywhere she wants. It used to have the limitation of using it once per day and requiring Kacho to use the return door, but after Kacho's death, both of those restrictions were lifted. So she can now use it multiple times a day. She doesn't say specifically how many times, but multiple.
It's very versatile now.
Yes. And she does also technically have Without You, but assumedly she's unaware of this.
Mm-hmm.
And her staff is actually wildly unimportant. We haven't seen really any of them at all. But we do have Ilardia, who is in Kurapika's Nen class, as well as Ladiolus. And she was actually the first... Kurapika said she was a fast learner and let her do the water divination first. But the learning fast part could have been a bluff just to motivate other people. We don't really know. Probably was a bluff. Mm-hmm. Then there's Ryoji and Bachum. Just dudes.
Yeah, not much to say about them.
Yeah, it's a pretty underdeveloped guard team, actually. But she's so entwined with Kacho that you don't even really notice that her own team isn't fleshed out very much.
Yeah.
And also, Melody is basically working for her now, too, but not on paper.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who's next, Dylan?
We have the 12th Prince Momoze. I do not fault any of you if you don't remember who Momoze is, because she was the first one to die, and she died very quickly in this arc.
Indeed.
So, just to go over Momoze really quickly, as much as I can talk about her, all of her own guards were given to her brother by her mother, Marayam, if you remember, when we talked about all the queens earlier. Despite this, Momoze didn't seem too bothered with it. That poor soul, too innocent.
Yeah.
She was left with a full staff of guards that were spies for various other factions, and was eventually suffocated with a pillow by her guard, Tufty. So,
Yep.
she didn't do literally anything. It's so sad.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Momoze as well. She seemed like genuinely like, kind of nice as well.
Yeah,
so,
she
like,
just seemed like pretty sweet. I don't know.
Yeah, but rest in peace.
Yeah.
Even if she didn't last very long, we actually do know a little bit about what her guardian spirit beast was. We don't really know what's happened to it. We're assuming that it probably eventually disappeared due to not being able to feed off of the host Nen. But in any case, I can go over what it is. It's a little like rat bear looking thing. I don't really know how to describe it. It's one of the first ones we see in the arc. Ask the target if they are free until they say yes. After they say yes, the beast takes over the target's mind and makes them kill anyone around them. So, very, very simple one. Arguably not very fitting for Momoze's appearance and character, but...
Yeah, it's interesting.
This was used on Seirid. And, yeah, in Kurapika's... this was before the Nen class was actually being held, right?
Yeah, this was like day one of the boat. Yeah, he was on their guard team.
Yeah, it was there. We don't know what's happened to it since, so do with that information as you will. Then we have the guard team of Momoze. Not really a whole lot to talk about here, aside from Tufty, which I'll get to. But first we got the paper. I don't sure. True guard of Queen Dwazel. So yeah, he exists. Then we have Bladge, true guard of Queen Tong Zhao-Li. Then we have Laroc, true guard of Queen Catrono, and Nagmum, true guard of Queen Psycho. So as you can see, yeah, it was literally just all spies.
Yep.
It was set up for failure. And it was all because of her mother.
Yep.
Then we also have Tufty, who is dead, thankfully. One of them got their comeuppance, at least.
Yep.
Killed Momoze. He was the one who suffocated her. But was killed by Hanzo in revenge, which we'll talk about Hanzo very shortly. But, yeah. Killed by Hanzo. Tufty's net ability was The Touch. He could create a double of himself that he could control within a 20-meter radius from him, and presumably that he used that ability to kill Momoze.
That's how he got away with it, because all the guards were still outside her room. That's why that was a big mystery of who did it. But he just sent his clone in there to do it.
So, he got what he wanted, but he's dead now. So,
yep.
That. And all 5 of these people were locked up under suspicion of the murder of Momoze. And that's that for Momoze. Not really a whole lot to touch on here, unfortunately.
No. And Tufty was actually killed while being locked, or while in prison.
Right.
All right. Now, her brother, 13th Prince Marayam. So all of Momoze's guards were absorbed into this team, but the funny thing is it was actually before she even died because of her stupid mom. So, like Hanzo, for example, was actually Momoze's guard, but he didn't even really get to be her guard because of her stupid mom.
Yeah.
And also worth noting, because I didn't want to write this note for like every character, pretty much all the named people here are trying to figure out how Marayam's Nen Beast works. This is like a big ongoing mystery right now.
Mm-hmm.
So Marayam himself there is really not a whole lot to say about him. He's really scared but he doesn't show it. He's trying to put on like a brave face, I assume.
And he's a child.
Yeah,
so
he's
makes
just
sense.
a child. I feel so bad for him. And he has a pet hamster. So, his guardian spirit beast, no concrete information. Figuring this out is an ongoing mystery. Any details here listed are speculated by Hanzo and Biscuit primarily, a little bit of Kurapika too, actually. Mm-hmm. So it changes, again, all speculation. Changes size and appearance based on Marayam's emotions. Puts up a spatio-temporal barrier around room 1013. Exit and phoning from the room are permitted, but whoever tries to enter it from the outside is transported to an alternate empty room. Someone who steps outside the room will be unable to see its contents or hear sounds coming from it, even if the door is open, whereas people inside will not experience anything unusual. So once you leave, you're not coming back, pretty much.
Yeah, you're not allowed back in once you leave.
Yeah.
So
also, the empty room does seem to be guarded. I have it pictured here by like a pretty fierce-looking version of the Nen Beast. That's smaller, Hanzo says.
Mm-hmm.
So the guard team, Biscuit Kruger, or Bisky as we all call her, was recruited by Kurapika and is currently teaching Nen to the rest of the team. Presumably in place of Kurapika since they can't actually leave the room, although one of them did. So Nen ability summons a humanoid Nen beast called Cookie. Cookie uses different massaging techniques and a Nen transmuted lotion to relieve fatigue and restore vitality to anyone it massages. She primarily uses this to maintain her youthful appearance. And she can also revert into her true form at any time.
Unfortunately, we have not seen Cookie so far in this.
No, we actually haven't. I'll move over to Verge first, because very related to Biscuit right now. He is the most untrusting guy of all time. It is crazy. He does not trust a single person, even Biscuit, until she muscled up, which we'll talk about in a second. He is learning Nen reluctantly from Hanzo and Biscuit. And he has a muscle fetish.
A very, very large muscle fetish.
Yes, it takes over. As soon as Biscuit reverts to her true form, he is just head over heels.
He becomes a completely different person. It's actually very hilarious.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'll just go ahead and talk about Bear again here too real quick. He was the first victim of Silent Majority, so he was in Kurapika's Nen class, obviously, but he died.
He actually
quickly.
did nothing. Yeah.
No, yeah. Hanzo, our boy, he was also recruited by Kurapika. He blames himself for Momoze's death, and he's actively trying to get revenge. He beats himself up about it a lot. Teaching Nen to the rest of the guard team, along with Biscuit, and he made Kurapika aware of the situation in Marayam's Nen quarters, and he did this by using his ability, which is one of presumably 3 others, at least. One of 4, I guess, but there might be 5. I don't know. But Hanzo skill 4, the only one we've seen, Art of the Doppelganger, can project a double of himself, which can phase through matter and hover in the air. That's all we got.
I want to point out, by the way, this is like the 3rd Nen ability that's related to like a clone or doppelganger of some kind. Takashi really likes this kind of ability.
It is useful for sure. Then we have Bellorente, who is in Kurapika's Nen class, was used as a test subject for the weird thing happening in room 1013, and probably won't be able to go back in there anytime soon. He's kind of stuck outside. Mm-hmm. And he shifted blame off of Kurapika when he was suspected of murdering Muhan. So he's kind of a bro. I like him.
Yeah.
He's kind of funny. He's very casual about everything.
Yeah, Marayam's team in general is just very likable overall.
Yeah, I really like Marayam's team. That's a solid crew. You got 2 major characters too. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the unnamed people, as per usual. Yeah, obviously these will be very important characters going forward because this mystery with his Nen Beast is very much a forefront topic. This is constantly being brought up and worked on. So
yeah,
I expect more developments with them soon.
For sure.
Now take it away, Dylan, with our page 1 of the probably the most important faction we got here.
Yep. So we're going to be talking about the faction / groupings, various related participants within 14th Prince Woble's part of the succession contest. So this is is split in two parts because there's a lot to talk about for some of these characters, and there's just a lot of people just intertwined within this faction because this is obviously the focal point of the succession contest.
Yep.
Especially considering the protagonist of this arc, which is Karapika. These are the most important people, and probably if you're gonna try and remember, if you completely forgotten everything that's happened in the succession contest, and you truly need one group to focus on, like remembering everything about, it's probably going to be Prince Woble's group. Mm-hmm. So, this is something to really keep in mind. Prince Woble herself is just a baby. Literally just cannot even speak. Cannot take care of herself whatsoever. It's actually insane that a baby is being involved in a death contest.
Yep.
And so there's not really a whole lot to go over about Woble specifically. So I'm just going to talk about her mother first, Oito, who is very emotional and scared, understandably so. Her child is being involved in a death game. Anybody would be emotional and scared, I think.
Uh-huh.
Has access to Nen due to Karapika using Stealth Dolphin on her. We will talk about Stealth Dolphin very shortly.
Yes.
Don't worry. But just know that she does have Nen, technically, now. And she witnessed Momoze's death and tried to stop it. This was due to her using a Nen ability bestowed by Karapika. Again, we will get there. Yeah. Which exposed her to being able to use Nen to their enemies, which is kind of what started the whole train about like, oh, Nen is a thing? How do we learn this? What is it? And that ramped up everything. Regrets marrying into royalty and is trying to atone for her mistake. She wanted something, or she thought she wanted something that she didn't actually end up wanting, essentially, very sad. And then she's just trying to keep her baby alive. That's her ultimate goal throughout all of this. She doesn't care about the succession contest at all. She just wants Woble to live.
No. Yeah, that's all she wants.
And going back to Woble one more time, her Nen Beast, nothing is known about it, actually. We don't even really know what it looks like. It has likely hatched, at least. At least that's what's been inferred. But even that is unknown, really. Like we just know nothing about it. We don't know what it looks like. We don't know its abilities. It's a wild card, pure and simple.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's those are the focal points of this entire group. We're gonna be going to go over Bill first before we go over Karapika, just because Bill won't take that long to go over. He's a member of Beyond's expedition team. So, haven't talked about him in a little bit, but, he's involved with that. He was hired through Pariston and wasn't given the same debriefing that Karapika was. He had no idea about the succession contest until Karapika told him. So, he knew basically nothing going into this job.
He didn't know what he was signing up for, and he's said that multiple times. He was not ready for all this.
Yep. That being said, he claims that he is dedicated to protecting Woble, seemingly moved by Karapika's words and motivations.
Yeah.
So he seems like a genuine homie.
He does. I really like Bill.
Yeah. And we know his Nen ability is Bulb Fliban, I think. I don't know.
Fleabane, I think.
Fleabane. Sure. It's an emitter ability and dramatically accelerates the growth of a living being by bringing the palms of his hands close to it. There's a lot of different theories about what this ability could be used for. Was even implied through direct dialogue in some of the chapters that, this ability could be used for various different things, but has yet to really been used much aside from the Nen class.
Yeah, so used it to grow like a plant from a seed.
Yeah.
And also a quick correction, it's an enhancer ability, not emitter.
Enhancer. Okay, my bad. Both start with E.
Yeah.
There's actually a theory or two that both me and Cage have in mind regarding this ability. I think I'm going to be saving that for next week's episode, though.
Yes.
So, stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel and podcast services if you want to keep up with that. And then finally, related to Bill, we know that he has 3 plans to escape the ship. Or had 3 plans at the very least.
Now 2.
One is no longer possible because Curtin died. So
Talk about him next page.
yep. So that's out the window. But 2 and 3 are still on the table, supposedly. 2, and we don't know what these escape plans are in detail, just, what, how they were provided, I guess. Basic details. Number 2 requires Pariston's help, and it will be difficult, according to him. Number 3 requires Beyond's help, and will be even more difficult. So,
yeah.
And that one's easy to see why, I think, is how the hell did they happen? Yeah, Beyond's contained by the Hunter Association. They are not getting to him easily. But yeah, there are escape plans in mind. Could prove to be useful. Could prove to be very interesting going forward, knowing that even trying to escape the ship, if you're a part of the contest, will result in death. So they don't know that though. So that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
And then finally, we're gonna go over Kurapika. A lot to talk about here. Probably not even going to be able to scratch the surface of everything we'll be able to overview about this character, obviously. Mm-hmm. But if you are a Hunter x Hunter fan, you probably know a lot of this already, so I'm not gonna think about it too hard. But he is the current protagonist of this entire arc. I think everyone would consider him as such. He has boarded the ship to primarily get the Scarlet Eyes from Tserriednich. That is his main goal, essentially, throughout all of this. But it's interesting. He claims that his number one priority, though, is to protect Woble still, though. So his entire thing right now is kind of just conflict of, do I focus on getting the eyes? Do I protect Woble? Can these two goals even coexist, really, right now? Really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Currently hosting a Nen class while dealing with an assassin, as we've, gone over multiple times now throughout detailing these factions, and wants to force a stalemate for the succession contest. That is the ideal result, is to not have anybody die, essentially. But obviously that's already out the window.
Well, yeah.
But as much as you can, force a stalemate. Mm-hmm. Going on to his abilities, we're really just going to be able to kind of overview this stuff because there'd be way too much to go to, in depth on with these. But he has access to 5 abilities. And I'm sure you'll remember most of these if you've watched the anime or read the manga at all, obviously. If you're here, you probably know all of these already. 1 for each finger on his right hand. All of these abilities can be enhanced by Emperor Time, which is when his eyes turn scarlet, he changes Nen type from Conjurer, which is his base type, to Specialist, meaning he can use everything to maximum effect. Mm-hmm. However, every second spent in this mode shortens Kurapika's lifespan by 1 hour.
Crazy.
1 second in Scarlet Eye, 1 second of Scarlet Eyes means 1 hour of his lifespan gone. So it's very nuts. He's gonna kill himself with that one these days. So going on to his 5 abilities, 1 for each finger, we have Dowsing Chain. It can be used offensively, but it's primarily I cannot speak. I apologize. It's used as a lie detector. Emperor Time allows him to use it through a video recording if he has met the target before. So, kind of more of a utility ability. Not a whole lot to talk about there.
Yep.
Then we have Chain Jail. Its sole purpose is to capture spiders and strip them of their freedom. It forces captives into a state of Zetsu, shutting off their aura and preventing the use of Nen abilities. If he uses it on someone other than a spider, he will die. So, solely able to be used on the Phantom Troupe. That's it. Cannot use it otherwise. Holy Chain is his 3rd ability. It heals wounds. Emperor Time heals them faster and allows them to heal severe wounds. So, it's a utility focused ability as well. Very strong. Haven't seen it used a whole lot though throughout the series.
No, I can just remember in the Uvo fight he heals his broken arm with it. I think that's the only time I can remember.
Next we got one of the ability we haven't seen in quite some time and probably won't still for a little while, but it's very relevant. It will be, at least. Judgment Chain enters a victim's body and wraps around their heart. Kurapika then declares a binding rule that, if violated by the victim, results in the stake of retribution piercing their heart and killing them. This one can only be used in Emperor Time. So, Interesting enough, it's not restricted to just like the spiders, like Chain Jail is.
Mm-hmm.
You can theoretically use this on anybody, but it can only be used during Emperor time.
It's a lot easier to use this while they're in chain jail is the whole thing.
Yes.
So.
Because it's a surefire hit.
Yeah.
But again, the big restriction still in that it can only be used in Emperor time, which obviously drains his lifespan.
Yep.
And then finally, we have the newest ability introduced from Kurapika just in this arc, and probably arguably the most interesting as well, is Steel Chain. It drains, not to be confused with like steel, like the metal. It's steel as in thief.
Yes.
Drains the target's aura and steals their Nen ability temporarily. Emperor Time allows Kurapika to summon Stealth Dolphin, which we touched upon when talking about Uito earlier. A Nen Beast. Stealth Dolphin is a Nen Beast that analyzes stolen abilities and allows Kurapika to use it himself or lend it to another person. If the person he gave the ability to didn't previously have Nen, this will forcefully awaken it within them, which is how Uito is able to use Nen now.
Yes.
And was also how Uito was able to kind of spy on a couple of the princes because of one of the abilities that Kurapika stole early on in the arc. Emperor Time must remain active the entire time if he gives the stolen ability to someone else, which we saw briefly in one of the chapters. He was freaking out about that because Uito had that ability for quite a while.
Yes.
So
I think he lost like 5 years of his life or something.
We tried doing the math in the previous episode if you want to go search that out. But that's a quick overview of Kurapika's motivations and all of his abilities. Very complicated stuff. You can there's a lot to go into if you really wanted to research more on the character. But again, if you are listening or reading this slide, you probably already know quite a lot about Kurapika.
Yep, and going forward, obviously, he will have a lot of relevance. He is the main character currently, and cannot wait to see what he does. He's, that's our boy. That's Kurapika.
Yeah.
Now, less exciting things. Just the rest of Woble's crew, which mostly are dead, unfortunately. So we got Tserried, first of all, who has been locked up after killing a bunch of people because of Momoze's Nen Beast. So he's in jail right now. He is part of the guard team, but I don't know if we'll see him again. We'll see.
We don't know.
His Nen ability is Little Eye. Launches an aura ball at a bug or any other small living being, capturing and gaining control over it. Uito had this for a while. Then there was Curtain. Actually, I'm going to do Shimano first since she's alive. She's very knowledgeable about the princes due to her family serving them for generations, and Kurapika asks her for advice often. So she's really the only one that lived of the original guard team that's not Bill and Kurapika. She's pretty useful so far. So then there's Curtain, who was killed by Tserried, and he is apparently the one who had an ability that let him turn into vehicles. I really wanted to see that.
That's so crazy. Yeah, that was a part of Bill's first escape plan. So
yes, which is no longer possible. Then there's Woody, who was the first victim on the entire boat. He died so fast, it's not even funny. His body was found with holes all over it. Kurapika guessed that it was either Woble's Nen Beast or Silent Majority later on, once that was in effect, because Silent Majority has similar effects. So it might not have actually been Woble's Nen Beast, but it is still a possibility. Then there's Sandra, who was killed by Vincent whenever he made a very bold attempt to just get shit done. And then a bunch of unnamed people who died day one, either through the whole ability or Tserried. And then we got Bobby Mina, who is the Benjamin spy and is monitoring the Nen classes. Obviously, he's pretty important right now. He's just he's an interesting one. We'll see where he goes. It's kind of hard to say anything concrete about him because he's not very clear with his intentions, but he is trying to figure out how Kurapika's his Nen ability works, and probably report that back to Benjamin.
Yeah.
Then there is the 3 guards that were sent by Zhang-Lei, and also Slaka, who was assigned by Unma, but was assigned to Zhang-Lei. A complicated string of commands there. Slaka works for Zhang-Lei, or works for Unma, but was assigned to Zhang-Lei, and was ordered by Unma to go to Kurapika's quarters to fill in for missing guards as well as Sakata and Hashito. Sakata wants to learn Nen. Kurapika doesn't trust him. Talked about this earlier. And Hashito is kind of just a dude who was sent to fill in.
Yeah.
And that is Woble's faction. They're not a lot of living members, but there are a lot of people there because of the Nen classes. A lot of people go in and out of there. It's a hot spot for sure.
Mm-hmm. And will presumably continue to be a hot spot for future chapters.
Yes, I would have to imagine. So, that's it. That's our comprehensive guide, about 3 hours long, to the Succession contest. I hope this helps a lot.
Yeah. Timestamps will surely help with the link to the video if you do not have the time to go over all of this in a quick manner. But we really hope this helps because I think this definitely helped us just even reading over it here.
Oh, yeah, and it will definitely help us going forward. With that, I mean, there's not really much we can say for like wrap up thoughts on this because I mean we just kind of blurted out facts at you guys, but yeah, I think at this point we're probably just gonna head into the community comments, right? Unless there's something else you want to say, Dylan.
Just that I'm gonna be referring to this encyclopedia very often, going forward, and I feel very prepared now. I think going, for chapters to return and kind of getting an overview of everybody. And I hope all of you listeners feel the same way.
Hell yeah. I'm glad you liked it, Dylan. I put a lot of work into this. I hope viewers felt the same way.
Again, for the podcast only listeners, it's very visually appealing, I think, and it should help you out a lot. So I recommend looking it up to your best convenience.
Yep. All right. And with that, I think we're ready to head into community comments.
Sure are. Okay. So first up for the community comments, we have Final Form Keith, regular viewer, listener of the podcast. Another great episode. Thank you for talking about Maha. Not enough people know about the goat.
Hell yeah.
Glad we could bring him to your attention, or at least Cage could bring him to your attention, because I didn't even know about him at first. But very, very interesting character overall. Hope we see him again. That'd be fun.
Hopefully.
Next up, we got Dan is the man 5252. Damn, that was so fun. I loved it. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
If you guys don't know, Dan is a good friend of ours. Big fan of Hunter x Hunter as well. Appreciate you leaving a comment. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Then we have at This Is Me 2014. I think Zapil made that urn. So this is referencing the from the Fun Facts video, the urn that looked very similar to the ceremony one that was sold. Was it back in York New?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. I think Zapil made that urn, and he even said it's a knockoff version of the original. I maybe remembered wrong. Great analysis and fun discussion, guys. I finally caught up.
Yeah, so this is the guy that was like going through all of our stuff and commenting as he went. So thank you for catching up. That's awesome.
That means a lot to us, like genuinely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
You take the time to watch like 13 hours worth of our videos.
Yeah.
So really appreciate that. And yeah, that's a really interesting comment then. If it's a knockoff version of the original, of kind of just admitting that could be. That
sounds right. I think you did say that, but I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to go back and look.
Okay. Very cool nonetheless.
Yes.
We have Burley Bronze Style now. Thank you for covering Volume 0. Sheila, Dino Hunter, AOT reference. So I was reading these comments ahead of time, as I would do to prepare for this podcast. And if you are listening to this right now, Burley Bronze Style, if you wanted to elaborate on what the AOT reference is, I'd really appreciate that, because I tried looking it up and just recalling it for myself, and I genuinely cannot I'm very curious what it is, because I don't doubt you saying that, but I have no idea what the reference is. So if you want to provide elaboration for that, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that too, because I have no idea.
In any case, though, covering Volume 0 was a good treat. So I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
We have also from Burley Brown Style. Maha, this is a kind of a theory, so I might touch upon this a little bit more in the upcoming episode. But he says Maha Zig brought back the Calamity Eye, Nanika, which can presume this is just a theory. But I think it's an interesting thing to think about how, like, how these calamities may have been brought back to the not Dark Continent.
Yeah, for sure. And Maha, could be Zig. I don't know, maybe. Or at least closely related to him.
Mm-hmm. Just a fun little thing to think about. I wanted to leave you guys with that. Next, we have Nisab6623. As a Hunter x Hunter fan, I support you guys. Thank you. That comments like that really mean the world to both of us, I think. Yeah. It's nice to see the support and, see other people love the series as much as we do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. That was really nice.
Then we got Stevie84, our homie, saying always more likes and comments for the algorithm, guys. Don't forget. Let's support this new channel. The bros are making 2-hour-long videos and genuinely love sharing their passion for Hunter x Hunter. Let's make them watched by more people.
3 hours this time.
Yeah, 3 hours this time. I hope if you've stuck through with us this entire length of the video, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for that.
But yeah, like comments like this really mean the world to me as well because like genuinely, like it's from your comments, especially Stevie, and just the constant engagement in the last couple of videos in general. Our sub count has definitely been, seeing really good increases as a result. Not that we care exclusively about numbers or anything, because this is really just a passion project at the end of the day. But it's nice to be able to see the growth take part directly from you guys, essentially. So I appreciate the support again. It really does mean the world.
Thank you so much, Stevie.
And then finally, we have Andrea. This one was really sweet to read. I just discovered your channel through this video, and it was this video that made me start on the manga. I'll start reading it from where the anime left off, so hopefully I'll catch up before the new chapters come out. With that in mind, I would still like to hear about everything that Leorio was cut short on, since I'll be skipping that part of the manga for now. Amazing work. I loved the video.
Thank you so much. That was so kind of you.
It was kind of both of our hopes in a way that like at least one person that listened to or watched the podcast would be inspired to kind of start the manga if they were an anime only. At least with the couple videos that were able to be watched by anime onlys. And just seeing that actually come into play is genuinely such a cool experience, I think, and it's one that I won't forget anytime soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think you can definitely catch up in time. You still got plenty of time. And, I was able to do it. And I was able to comprehend everything pretty well, even with my rusty knowledge on even the anime itself. So, wish you luck in that. I think you got it. And, can't wait to have you along for the ride as well. Thank you for giving our channel a chance.
Yes.
And, about Leorio, the stuff that was cut. Still keep that in mind for, maybe an episode down the line. But,
absolutely. I'd love to do that at some point. But for the foreseeable future, pretty much all our episodes are going to be just new chapter discussions and maybe some bonus content. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll play it by ear.
Yeah.
I believe that's it for the community comments, though. Thank you so much, guys, for the support as always. Upon reading through all of these comments in this section, I think the support is overwhelming almost. It means a lot to both of us. So, keep the comments up, keep liking the videos and subscribing and following the podcasts on services. Thank you guys a lot for being on the ride with us.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you guys so much. The kind words they mean the world to us, and the fact that the comment section is just filled with stuff like that, it warms our hearts. It's so nice to see the work we put into this actually being watched and commented on. It's surreal as a a new YouTube channel and new podcast. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, and I believe with that we are done with this very long episode. I told you guys it would be long. I think even Dylan underestimated how long it would be.
I did for sure. That being said, I think we're getting it to just under 3 hours. So there's that.
Yeah. So just under. But yeah, I hope it was very thorough. And again, you can check out the images that I made on my Twitter account or on the Hunter x Hunter subreddit. Probably the top of the page, highest rated thing of all time, probably. I
yeah,
imagine.
totally.
Yeah, probably. So thank you guys for checking those out if you do. And audio listeners, I really hope you did to check those out as we were reading it. YouTube, you got it on the screen, but, still take a look if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And with that, this has been the Hunter Association. Thank you so much for listening. We are available on all major podcasting platforms as well as YouTube for the video version. Be sure to follow, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help build our community out. We'll be here the same time every week talking about Hunter x Hunter. Dylan, where can people find you online?
You can find me most active on Twitter at DJ Tengen. That's DJTENGEN. I'll say for this week, if you go to my Twitter page right now, you'll see I'm very obsessed with the One Piece TCG. So there's that interest if you have, if you have any interest in following my journey through that now. But it's usual stuff as well, gaming and anime, manga related, tweets and content. So be sure to follow me there if you want to keep up with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm, of course, at Cage10, KAIIGE10, and you can find the images there. So go there.
Yeah. So I believe this next episode, I guess we can officially talk about it now.
About to.
So it'll be a theory episode, to put it simply. Basically, the rough idea for this video will be that we'll be compiling a bunch of different theories from all over the place, including from you guys. Please be sure to keep an eye out for the community post or leave a comment down below on this video, or send us an email for the podcast only or audio only listeners. If you want to send in your own personal theories and have them be read on that episode. Going to be taken in from pretty much everywhere that we can find theories, compile as much as we can together, and we're just going to talk about a bunch of different theories and, what could happen in the future chapters, what could we be setting up for, things of that nature. So I think it'll be a really fun one, and this is also the first episode where I will be hosting in full. So if you wanted to hear more of my lovely voice with this lovely new microphone, if you haven't noticed, then, be sure to keep an eye out for that next week.
Yeah, you get a break from me, and you get Dylan for a week. It's very exciting for me. I'm excited to see how it goes, Dylan. It's going to be awesome.
Thank you. I hope it goes well. But yeah, so still trying to compile all the theories together. So if you have any of your own, be sure to let us know somehow, and we'd love to discuss it.
Yes. Comments highly encouraged this time. We would love to hear your theories. That's like the driving force of this episode. I would love to hear what kind of insane theories you guys have come up with.
Yes.
All right. And with that, remember to check out the community post after the episode and let us know your theories. And we will see you guys next week with episode hosted by Dylan. So give him a round of applause for that. Let's see how it goes.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Hell
guys.
yeah, dude. All right. See you guys next week.